just because there are so many games. Usually preseasons, a lot of people don't quite have their time like figured out. There's some problems with coordinating and stuff. So there's a lot of buys. Sometimes replays don't get uploaded. So um, we have been able to get away with doing a bunch of groups because there's only been about 5 or 6 games in each group. But group 20, all of these players were on top of it. They all like played their games and they all uploaded their games, which means we have to cast all their games, and that's 10 games, which is a lot. So unfortunately, we couldn't get to it yesterday because the King of the Tiers tournament cast was yesterday. If you haven't watched that, you should definitely go to the official Coach-Pupil League channel and watch those casts after this one, of course. And I mean, I myself, I was busy yesterday night, so I know I'm gonna be going back and watching those once I'm done here. So yeah, we got a lot of let me make sure I have the right replay set up. Yep. So our first match is going to be a Tentat versus Gerthang, and if I look over our players here, we do have players from each race. So we are going to be seeing, you know, almost actually every matchup because they all played their games. So we're going to have the Tour de France, Tour de Force of Starcraft games here, where we're going to see every little bit of this game played out in about a mid-ish tier play style, to my knowledge. I actually have no idea what the MMR rankings for each group is. I just assume that 20 is probably, you know, these players, they have some stuff in them, you know? So we're going to see what the secret stuff is and hop right into our first game of a Tentat versus Gerthang, which is going to be a Zerg versus Protoss on Polypoid. And we'll switch our screen over to Polypoid here. In the top right, we have a Tentat playing the deep purple Zerg Brood. And in the top, did I say bottom right? Top right, we have a Tentat. And in the top left, we have Gerthang playing as the orange Protoss tribe. A Tentat sending his Overlord immediately to the counterclockwise position, as you do. And yeah, we're gonna get into what I'm guessing is going to end up being a pretty standard game. Oh, actually, crap! I was supposed to. Nah. Gerthang setting up their pylon to begin the wall. And also sends the probe to immediately mine some minerals. So this is a little minor optimization if we have any tier 3 players or lower watching. That's one of the really minor optimizations that you don't, if you're playing normally and you're just looking at build order, you don't really think about that too much. Where it's like you would maybe just build the pylon and go scout, or build the pylon and send your probe back to these mineral lines. But when you do it, when you have it mined from your natural, it'll run back to your base. Also, really great scouting here. Checks because he knows the Overlord pathing on this map will send it counterclockwise. So he checks right here, sees the Overlord, and it says, "Okay, I don't have to waste my time." But when you have the probe mine your natural, he's going to run back to your base, deposit the minerals, and then come back to the natural just in time for your first building. So it's one of those really convenient timings that really smooths out your early game play. So Gerthang gets up into the Zerg's main and spots the spawning pool first. Well, not first, but I believe a overpool style. And he's going to see all the Zerglings hatch, and that's going to trigger a lot of warning signs. Back at home, he starts his forge, and he brings up 3 probes to help choke the point. So the first Zealot that comes out, usually in a gateway expand, that first Zealot is running over to the Zerg's main to try and put on some economic pressure. But when you know your opponent has gone for that very fast spawning pool and a lot of Zerglings, you just keep the Zealot back at home. build your forge, you choke the point, and get your cannon up. And so Gerthang is going to hold this pretty easily. There's only one place really that the Zerglings will be able to get in. Ooh, an unfortunate spawn here from the Zealot, but the Zerglings look like they're going to be able to just barely wall him out of the main. And our Zealot is going to be chased away from his home and then eaten by the Zerg. What is... Oh, no. Oh, an unfortunate placement on the pylon will give the cannon rush away, but that is only if a Tentat notices it and pays attention. One photon cannon can get placed right there and deny this hatchery, and it looks like a Tentat is not going to see it until it is too late. You can see all 6 Zerglings have to immediately run home to try and save this expansion, but with the pylon set up, I think the probe is going to be pretty safe behind its walls. This is a great counter pressure play. Yep, and this is also super smart, laying the creep colony right there, so the sunken colony can outrange the cannon and help the Zerglings blow this pylon down. Yeah, the probe is moving in position. If Gerthang times it just right, they might be able to rebuild the pylon as soon as it falls, but unfortunately they do not hit it. The Zerglings find the smallest little gap to try to start hitting the cannon, but the probe will get taken out, and the cannon will just barely survive and out of the range of the sunken colony. A Tentat's going to have to invest a lot more resources into defending this attack. Or this cannon pressure. Yep, you see a lot of 3 more Zergling eggs have been forced, and even drones are coming down to try and fight the cannon and just try and prevent the economy from being delayed for too long. Gerthang, he says, I've done what I need to do. He doesn't focus fire the cannon on the various drones that come up and start mining. He could have gotten a lot more economic damage, but you know what? You've killed 6 Zerglings, 2 or 3 drones. You're okay with that. Back at home, Gerthang is getting their nexus up about halfway, and they're getting up into their defenses, building an extra cannon in the main, mostly to scare away this overlord. Second gateway before Cybernetics Core. That is it's an interesting play. Overlord should die, I think. Meanwhile, Cybernetics Core goes up in the nat. That's the Cybernetics Core. Cybernetics Core goes up in the main, so Gerthang is getting up into their regular Protoss style, their Protoss build, while Tentat has gone up to 3 hatcheries and is going to take the economic, or the base lead that Zerg usually wants / needs at this state in the game. Yeah, it seems Gerthang is going for a heavier Zealot style, getting +1 upgrades and Zealots from their 2 gateways. This might lead into more of a timing attack, then maybe try and prevent Tentat from getting in a position where a Hydra Bust can actually take Gerthang out. So it looks like, yep, a Tentat's going up to 5 hatcheries, so Hydra Den right there. Six more Zergling, or yeah, 5 Zerglings come across the map just to make sure they have a Tentat has vision on what Gerthang is doing in their base, and you know, dart in, see what Gerthang has, and dart out. Fortunately for our Zerg player, Gerthang has gone to a very healthy Zealot count, and doesn't have to be scared of the minimal amount of Zerglings that a Tentat is fielding on the map. So Zealots are just going to march sternly and angrily across the map, all the way to the Zerg's base. However, with sunken colonies put up, and some pretty decent SimCity here at the 3rd, these Zealots shouldn't find too much economic damage, but they should be able to delay the Hydralisks just long enough for Gerthang's Templar Archives to get up and protect him from the Hydralisk push. to march up right into the main, or the third base, rather. 3 Zealots coming along the back to start putting damage on the Sunken Colony. These Zealots dealing with Zerglings. The Sunken Colony will fall very quickly to the sustained Zealot pressure, and this is going to be an extremely good attack here from Girthang, cleaning up all the defenses, and the drones are going to have to run away. A couple get picked off, but now the Zealots are just going to focus down on the hatchery. Our hatcheries are very beefy, and they shouldn't be able to get the kill before a Tentat is able to reinforce this base. I don't know, actually, that's a lot of Zealots, and +1 dis is just finished, but nope, there we have some spawning Hydralisks. The Zealots are going to trade very nicely with them, but we're going to have more reinforcing Hydralisks coming from the main and natural. Again, a really effective move out here from Girthang, delaying the push as long as possible, limiting the Hydra count that a Tentat will have later in the game, and keeping them off of mining from their third base. Girthang even gets 1 Zealot out, who's now, the death of his brothers has emboldened him to run as fast as possible back home to warn his brethren about the incoming Hydralisk attack. The High Templar are out now, which means that Girthang is going to be looking for those juicy Hydralisk clumps to just press the delete key, and remove them from the game. Corsair now moving out. It's probably, with Hydralisks already fielded, it won't really be able to get any damage done onto a Tentat's Overlord count. They're all sort of massed up here at the natural, as is usually standard for a Zerg, safely under the rally point of the Hydralisks. But Girthang will be able to recognize what exactly a Tentat is doing, and he's going to say, yep, there are Hydralisks. There isn't anything sneaky going on. We don't have a surprise spire. The Corsair just looks around, says, we're going to have some slithery boys on the way to our base. Yeah. Oh, might catch this Overlord out on the map. Or just scout around to make sure a Tentat doesn't have a sneaky fourth anywhere, and making this into a weird economics game. Back at home, Girthang has been feeling pretty safe, and they're macroing extremely well. They're getting Dragoon range. They're having a pretty nice gateway explosion going up to what looks like about to be 5 gateways, or 6 gateways, including the one at the natural. They're going to be pretty safe from the push out here from a Tentat. And they have an observatory on the way as well, so even the next step for a Tentat, or for Zerg in this position, is to get Lurkers. Girthang is going to be ahead of that and in a really comfortable position. Expanding on taking this third, a little risky since they don't have quite enough Hydralisk. Or High Templar. Hydralisks come up, snipe 1, which is really good. They only lose 1 Hydralisk for that, and then the Hydras will run away completely unscathed. And if a Tentat tries to commit to something more aggressive with the rest of their Hydralisks or Zerglings, they might be able to get the cancel on this mineral-only Nexus. Well, that opportunity may have waned here. Oh, another nice snipe on this High Templar. That is a lot of storms that Girthang is not going to be able to use. Again, getting damage on the Hydralisks, but only able to actually kill a few. The Zealots are now moving into a really great position to try and trap a couple, and the Hydralisk numbers from a Tentat are slowly being waned down. But this is only the excursionary force. There's a large, huge amount of Hydralisks here at the third, and still rallied under the Overlords, as well as many Lurkers on the way. So once a Tentat brings their full army to bear, Girthing might be in a serious trouble because they are now, like, they've lost 3 High Templar to the the Hydralisk harassment. And those storms are critically needed once the Zerg starts mounting a full assault. Girthing tries to move out to try and force a Tentat to engage as far away from the Protoss base as possible. The Tentat has lurkers here burrowed on the high ground to try and perfectly take advantage of their position. Dragoons with range and observers will make this a bit difficult for a Tentat to hold. Some Zealots get aggroed up into straight Hydralisk and Lurker fire and get melted. Templar tries to come out. A storm almost whiffs, but the Hydralisks freak out a little bit and do another great snipe there. However, a lot of Hydralisks got caught up in the storm. But with a Tentat sort of coalescing and making a really nice concave, the Dragoons sort of near the bottom are melting without Zealot support. Now we're in a very weird position for ZVP. Zerg is ahead by about 20 supply. Girthing is floating a lot of resources, so they've been really focused on trying to maintain this position out here so that a Tentat can't get on their third, but with all their focus on this area, their macro has slipped a little bit, and they can only produce so many units at a time. See, they are getting a good smorgasbord of upgrades for all their units. We're looking at +1, +2, about to be +2, +3, while a Tentats is only sitting at what is about to be only a singular +2 attack. Some more Scourging Hydras come up, snipe another High Templar. These have been insanely good plays here by a Tentat. So many of Girthing's High Templar have just fallen without getting any value for very little cost on a Tentat's side. Ooh, we have a shuttle drop here coming in from the main into the main of a Tentat. Looks like a storm drop. Unfortunately, the drones are pulled extremely quickly, and the storms are tossed out not very accurately. Hydralisks come down, snipe the shuttle, snipe the High Templar, and a Tentat, Girthing only gets a handful of drone kills with that drop. Which, as the Zerg expands across pockets all over the map, they've taken, well actually, oh, I thought they had extended here. Well, they haven't taken their mineral only, but they're in a very good position to take that base. But as they're taking the bottom right corner, Zerg is getting into a very nice economic position. They're going to see this fourth get taken here by a Tentat. But Girthing is taken by Girthing, but Girthing is very quick to bring his army down and find a position where he'll be able to defend it from any rogue Hydralisks who just kind of are trying to run away and survive for a bit and get some incidental information about where Girthing is at expansion-wise, where the Zealots will clean it up very quickly. See more Hydralisks flooding down towards the bottom to try and get into a position where they can defend this base if Girthing notices it. But one of the great things about taking this this low ground base is that if you can defend it, you get the high ground for free. So while it may seem like this is only a Tentat's fourth, it really is like a fourth, and then in a couple minutes a free fifth. Whereas Girthing's fourth doesn't really give him that kind of positional advantage. However, yep, here's a big move out by Girthing. Maybe a Corsair flew over here earlier, so they definitely know this base exists, and they're bringing the entire brunt of the Protoss army to bear against this outlying Zerg colony. See Arbiters and Recall being upgraded. which Girthing has done a great job of moving the Corsair around. A shuttle was just in the main of a Tentat, so he does kind of know that there aren't any, that there isn't a Spire, and so Scourge aren't really in play. And in that situation, an Arbiter may actually be extremely good. You can cast not only Storm, but then once the storms dry out, you can cast Stasis on clumps of Hydralisks. You can recall into the Zerg space to get a really nice positional advantage and snipe some tech structures. And here, right here, Girthing is really, I mean, it looks like they're going to be able to take this this base out. And I think I speak a little too soon. The Lurkers are just a bit too healthy, and the reinforcements coming down from a Tentat are going to save this hatchery and this one remaining Lurker at very low health. Yeah, and a Tentat's just getting into a really nice economic position where they're over 50 supply ahead from the Protoss, so it's going to be really hard for Girthing to come back from that. Usually the Protoss's way of staying in the game and keeping the Zerg army in check is with those High Templars, and a Tentat's been doing a great job of limiting the High Templar count coming out of Girthing. Huge amount of gateways. Girthing is just trying to spend these resources. You see he's floating up into 2.4k. So money is no object, but it is a matter of what exactly can he spend that money on. At a certain point in the game, you really don't, when you're just spamming Zealots out because that's all you can make, it can feel very bad for the health of your army. We have a bunch of Adrenalings being spammed out here from a Tentat, and they will actually tear through a Protoss army extremely quickly without Archons to supplement them. Especially once they have Lurker holding the positions, they have Hydrals cover fire, the Zerglings will be able to get right on top of the Protoss and just start tearing through pretty much anything that's not Zerg. Had some Arbiters building for a while. One is out and a second one is on the way. We even have Arbiter energy being researched from Girthing. And while a Tentat still holds the supply advantage, when you start getting into these really late game positions, we've seen this in a couple of our other preseason games, where when a player has an insane supply advantage, it actually hurts when you don't go and fight your opponent, essentially. I've said it in a couple of casts that one of the best ways to win as a new player is not risking an engagement and not engaging when you don't have to. Like if you know you're pretty far ahead of your opponent, you have more bases, you've taken a lot of good fights, you can just let them dry up and kill the army as it's coming. But in a position like this where Girthing is getting their 4th base up, they have a relatively healthy economy even compared to their opponent. Every second that you aren't continuing taking fights and pushing your supply advantage is a second that Girthing is able, that your opponent, in this case for a Tentat Girthing, is able to catch up in their supply and make the game even again. And we see that here, where basically every macro cycle Girthing is getting closer and closer. A Tentat was up 80 supply earlier, now they're only up 50 supply. And all it takes is Girthing to go, oh, hold on, do I have any Zealots building? Bop, 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 bop. And, you know, he's up to 200 supply as well. However, if we can still point out the positives, a Tentat is taking this moment where they have a increased supply and taking the bottom left corner. Now, that does play into what I was saying earlier, where sometimes you just out-macro your opponent, you keep them contained, and this plays into this. However, without a Tentat's army on the other side of the map, keeping Girthing's army in check, this base is going to die extremely easily. So this was kind of a risky move, where it was just really hoping Girthing doesn't go over there because there were 2 lurkers defending it. However, with the army over there, a Tentat is going to stream his purple boys over and try to hit Girthing's main. A really nice storm is on, like, in the middle of the Zergling rally. He's going to take out a lot of them. And actually, it seems like the upgrade advantage here is favoring Girthing. Yeah, plus, we're about to have +3 armor, +1 plasma shields, +3 attack versus only +1 armor, +2 attack. So the Zealots are going to match very favorably against those Zerglings. And this main base is going to be defended with ease, and Girthing will take the supply lead. And here are a couple of Arbiters. It is looking like Girthing is going to be doing some very Protoss versus Terran strategies here. Big recall, gets some units in the main, some units in the down in the natural. And yeah, big storm on this like self-made choke here. Another storm in not a great position, but if another one goes down right on this ramp, it'll hit a lot of these Hydralisks. The second recall comes in, bringing the entirety of Girthing, not the entirety, but most of Girthing's army to bear. Scourge come in, all of the Scourge connect to one Arbiter, you hate to see it. And it looks like Girthing is going to find the wedge they need to deny some of a Tentat's economy. And honestly, just take an extremely good fight. A bunch of lurkers coming in to try and rally back and defend. Unfortunately, placed Nidus Canal. If that had been in the main, this could have been an entirely different fight. But now a Tentat is going to have to fight up into their own base. More Scourge come in, kill a Corsair, but the Dragoons will finish them off and they won't really be able to get up onto there. A Tentat, however, is getting up into some tech. Defiler Den is here and Consume is... Defiler Den is here and Consume is on the way, which might give them the abilities... Ooh, Scourge connect onto the Arbiter and strand the Protoss army. You can see Tentat really is now paying attention to the Arbiter play. A lot of Scourge are popping out. But again, fighting up this high ground, especially against Dragoons and High Templar, is no easy feat for the Hydralisks. It'll be hard for even for Zerglings because we have an Archon and Zealots present. And Girthing still has an insane upgrade lead. Tentat moving his army out to try and hit some counterattacks on the Protoss bases. However, that is a defensive matrix of cannons. It'll be very hard for a Tentat to get a lot of serious damage done as the Zerglings just melt to this this array. They do get up there. The cannons will eventually fall, but it looks like it should just buy enough time for the army of Girthing, catching a lot of lurkers who were supposed to come and reinforce with the army. The Tentat's now just trying to focus fire down the Nexus, but those things have a lot of health, and I don't think our Zerg player is going to be able to get it. Girthing now consolidating his army in the middle of the map, positioning them a little bit far forward, just to make sure, you know, put as much space between where a fight will take place and where their bases are, because these two bases are now vitally important. Girthing has been kind of slacking on getting expansions, so they're mined out in their main and natural currently. We can see by the mini-map there are no minerals up there. So they're really relying on that mineral only and that fourth base. Tentat did finally clear up this this upper ramp and reestablishes their bottom right. Both players just kind of taking a moment and assessing the situation, trying to figure out what their next step is. The next step for Girthang is looking like an A move across the map. They're nearly maxed out on supply, and a Tentat has been slacking in their macro. They're down all the way to 140. With how cost-efficient Zerg is, that isn't necessarily a death sentence, but it is in a position where the Protoss can feel comfortable moving out and putting pressure against their opponent. See a small move out here to try and secure the bottom left, maybe make way for Girthang to expand there later, while also keeping the bulk of the army near a Tentat's main to catch any reinforcements coming from the main bases that would supplement the armies trying to clear the bottom left. Looks like Girthang has decided they're going to try and consolidate everything. Wow. Some very nice Dragoon shots prevent the Scourge from from killing the Arbiters before they get down there. Girthang he sent his expeditionary force down to 6 o'clock, making sure nothing was there. And with the bulk, he can now focus on bringing the bulk of his army to Tentat's bottom right. That's a lot of Protoss. Nai's Canal is up, so Tentat will be able to reinforce it with the majority of his army, bring a lot of lurkers down. You can see the stream coming down from the north. Girthang is starting to look like they're not in a very good position for this push, with just how much Zerg is present in the area. You see the Arbiter tried to go in for a stasis. Ooh, huge there, gets a lot of the Hydralisks. But that is going to mess up the pathing of the Protoss army as they try to engage into this base. A lot of Zealots just running right into lurker fire. A huge storm goes down, catches 3 lurkers. Zerglings, but it looks like a Tentat will be able to push them back. Protoss supply melts all the way down to 152. So more and more Protoss fall to the Zerg presence. You can see that Girthang is really trying to make this base the do or die situation. If he can destroy this base, he'll get the main base, the bottommost right base, for free. However, if a Tentat's able to hold, Girthang is dedicating a lot of army to defeating, to holding these bases. And if he loses this fight, he will be completely reset, and that actually looks like what is about to happen. Having only 2 bases with probably a depleted gas at this point, so really only 1 gas mining base, he doesn't have the Vespene to resupply the technicalities of his army. He's basically just going to be in complete Zealot production. He hasn't expanded down into the bottom left bases, which he would really need to keep his army healthy with High Templar and Dragoons. You can see Girthang's last couple of units fall, and a Tentat once again takes that supply lead and is getting to a position where they will just be able to move across the map and kill their opponent. See High Templar barely trying to toss out storms to get what little value they can have before they just die. And it looks like the curtain is closing on our Protoss player. Only a little under 2,000 gas left on their only mining assimilator. And a Tentat now getting into some Defiler play. So we'll be seeing some Plagues, we'll be seeing some Dark Swarms, presumably, and that's really going to help with versus at least the Dragoons. Plague will be an amazing ability. Girthang tries to expand to the 12 o'clock, which is not the most ideal since it is towards your opponent. But the small force of Hydra Lurker that was defending this area and trying to prevent the Protoss from getting to it does die However, all Tentat really has to do is A-move the 300 Zerglings that they've built at this point, and that base should fall pretty easily. Looks like we're finally at that big push out here from a Tentat. We can see the giant stream of Zerg coming right up, ready to start trying to fight the Protoss army. The Archon putting in a lot of work to kill, just nuking Zerglings as they're coming up. However, a lot of them do get into this 12 o'clock base, kill the cannons before they can finish and start even providing any amount of defense. More Zerglings, more Hydralisks coming up, completely taking out this base. And I think this should be the signal that, the game is over. Gurthang has now dropped all the way down to 83 supply. They don't have really the gas or the minerals to replenish it, as their 4th base at 9 o'clock is finally running out, and they leave the game. A Tentat, GG's to both of our players, but a Tentat will take the first game of our group of 20. Cut over to that, and I'm going to... Well played by both players. Yeah, that was a good game. Let me fix one setting here real quick. There we go. And we will start loading up our next game, which is going to be a Tentat versus Nice Pants. A Tentat played really well that game. Gurthang also played extremely well. It's just sometimes... you get into a position when you don't expand, it can feel really, it's one of those things that's really easy to forget, and we saw in that game both players really sometimes forgot their macro cycles. It's just doing that as Protoss hurts a lot more than when that happens as Zerg. And also Gurthang really let their expansion slip. They didn't really, they didn't take the bottom left when it was available to them, when they really needed those bases, and they tried to take the 12 o'clock, which was extremely risky. And all of these factors really played into Tentat being able to take advantage of that and just out-supply, out-macro, and overwhelm Gurthang. But our next our next game, a Tentat versus Nice Pants, will have none of that, because this is a Zerg versus Zerg. If you've ever watched one of my streams, you know this is my favorite matchup, because it is just silly how quick and how brutal these games can be sometimes. And sometimes our ZVZs are extremely silly, and those are the best times. But both of these players are extremely good. We're going to hop right into our game, and I don't expect anything too silly from them. I expect this must be a very straightforward ZVZ. I've watched a good bit of Nice Pants. I've watched a good bit of a Tentat, so I expect them to really show a really nice ZVZ here. And speaking of our two players, in the top right we have Nice Pants playing as the light pinkish Zerg Brood. Remastered colors look really weird sometimes, and it's really hard to tell what exactly they are. I believe this is technically the light pink, but this is the colors that Nice Pants got. And in the top left, we have a Tentat with the classic yellow Zerg Brood. Positionally, spawn point advantage goes to Nice Pants, as both players send their overlords in the counterclockwise direction, and Nice Pants will just happen to be in the right one, where they will see whatever a Tentat decides to do. Both going for an overlord, so nothing... both players sticking to very similar plays here. I suppose what the next thing they do to see if there's any variations. Nope, both are going up to presumably 12, and we'll see if there's any variation then. If we have a 12, okay, 12 pull here coming in from a Tentat, while Nice Pants is going for the 12 hatch, which pretty sure benefits Nice Pants in this situation as soon as he gets the resources, because Nice Pants' pool will only be a little bit behind Attentats, but they will have a faster, they will get up to basically 6 larvae faster coming out of 2 hatchery. See, an Attentat is going to make their own expansion. See Nice Pants. Nice Pants' Overlord finally gets in, and the Overlord position also alerts Attentat to where their opponent is. You see the Overlord heads straight over to the natural. This Overlord that was scouting down heads straight up to the top right, and 6 Zerglings start to move out on their way to try and get some harassment damage done at the expansion of Nice Pants, or they just sit in their natural, and I'm proven wrong by any call I ever make. Nope, they do. I'm proven wrong about being proven wrong. As these Zerglings begin to move out, but Nice Pants back at home is making their own Zerglings who will be able to get out and defend the base as soon as possible. So, this shouldn't get too much done other than bruising the hatchery and making Attentat feel pretty bad about that. A couple of Zerglings pop, they are able to take them out, but as more come in to reinforce, Attentat will have to retreat before they lose too many Zerglings and risk Nice Pants overwhelming them on the ground. Both players are mining gas, both players are getting their lair up, although Attentat's is much faster. We can see that they're reinforcing more Zerglings. They're really, they've gotten Zergling speed, so they're really dedicated to trying to push this advantage, push this attack. But it looks like Nice Pants just barely loses that fight by a single Zergling. One will run up into the main to get a scout out to see what Nice Pants is planning, but Attentat will know for the very least that their lair is much faster than their opponents. However, they're just getting more Zerglings instead of going right into their spire, mostly probably because they saw how many Zerglings their opponent was making and they really need to defend against this attack. So although Attentat had the a very fast lair compared to their opponent, they're both getting their spire about the same time. And yep, Attentat sees the Zerglings coming over and moves their drones back into their main to try and defend. Tries to pick off any Zerglings on the outside to try and force Nice Pants takes bad engagement, and Attentat is going to overwhelmingly defend their natural base. Zerglings do a little jig, run around a little bit in excitement, and then head straight over to their opponent. Unfortunately, with a sunken colony here and a few more Zerglings popping out, these Zerglings won't be able to get Attentat's Zerglings won't be able to get too much done, but they might be able to get up into the main. Unfortunately, not. So no scout for Attentat. Nice Pants adds on a couple more drones, just eking out whatever little bit of efficiency and extra worker supply they can to try and skyrocket themselves relatively to their opponent. 5 Mutalisks start immediately as the spire is done. Nice Pants, who has been building some more Zerglings and more drones, is going to be limited by their minerals, and so is going to have to start making Scourge to supplement their smaller Mutalisk force. Huge amount of Zerglings come in again to harass the natural base. It looks like they might actually be able to get it now with how few Zerglings Attentat has. Yep, you can see they're now targeting down the hatchery, but they ignore it at just the last moment. Oh no. If Nice Pants hadn't turned those Zerglings around the fight, they would have been able to get the hatchery and taken a very nice economic lead in this game. But unfortunately, they tried to take the fight, and now the 5 Mutalisks of a Tentat are flying right over to Nice Pants' base, narrowly avoiding the 2 Scourge that were wanting the spawn camp, a Muta spawn. Looks like 1 Muta very badly damaged by a Tentat swarm, and I mean, it's just a numbers game, right? Nice Pants' Mutas will trickle out, but they're fighting in a staggered way. Some Scourge come down, snipe a single Muta. They do a lot of good damage there, but it's not enough. And actually, in ZVZ, it's better to spread the Scourge out across 2 Mutalisks, because Wall 2 Scourge will one-shot a Muta. They will overkill by like 100 damage. And so you want the Scourge to hit separate Mutas so that your Mutas will clean them up and basically provide that last 20 or so damage that the Scourge don't get. It's one of the very few instances in the game where you want to do something like that. See these couple Mutas alive on just the slimmest of health margins, 3 and 10, but those margins would evaporate to a Tentat's Mutas. Nice Pants down to only 1 drone in their main, and this looks like a pretty easy victory for a Tentat, as the inevitability of their increasing Muta count continues. They do lose their natural, but at this point, does it really matter? Nice Pants has to devote most of their larvae to rebuilding their drone count, while a Tentat's able to devote most of their larvae to just building Mutalisks. Nice Pants tries to make some Zerglings to try and force a ground engagement, but a Tentat's already ahead of them, setting up Zerglings in their natural and their main. Mutas are harassing a Tentat's drones, but once the Mutas return back and actually start a fight, they'll clean up these Mutas extremely quickly. And these Zerglings as well. And with that, just a couple more Scourge flying out, trying to get any damage done, but we're looking at a 8 Muta swarm. Nice Pants tosses out the GGs. A Tentat takes the second game of Group 20 as well. A very powerful Muta-based ZVZ. Alright. Just knocking them out. Our next game is going to be a Tentat versus Mixed Smush. I don't think I've ever seen play. I think they're new. At least I've never casted them. So this is going to be a Zerg versus Terran. So we're going to see a Tentat once in each matchup. See if they can go for the 3-peat and be the ultimate CPL Zerg player. Load up our game here. Once again on Polypoid, because it's one of the better designed maps, and we never get sick of it. We like seeing good maps in our StarCraft games. As we hop right into our Polypoid game. Cut our stream over, and in the top right corner of Polypoid, we have our purple Terran player, McSmush, trying to deny a Tentat their 3-0 victory once against each race. And in the bottom right corner, we have a Tentat, once again as the yellow Zerg, here to win once against each race. Scouting in the correct direction with their Overlord, counterclockwise, in the conveniently the best direction here for them in this game, as that is where their opponent is. Let's see what kind of game this evolves into. No shenanigans, it seems. No barracks supply depot, no early 6 pool, just good old standard StarCraft. Zerglings going down. Looks like a Tentat is going for the 12 hatch. SCV from McSmush finally goes out to scout. It looks like they are going to be scouting in the correct direction, down south, so they will get this first scout on their opponent. And even if they hadn't sent them in that direction, the Overlord would eventually fly into their base, alerting them of where their the Zerg was, at the very least. SCV comes down, sees the expansion, runs right up into the main, is going to see the spawning pool on its way, about halfway done. Our Zerg player is just building drones, getting their economy up. Second barracks being built. That seems a little early. I thought you go barracks and then you build a like command center and bunker here before you start building your extra barracks, but McSmush might be going for an earlier attack, or they just want to be really safe with a larger marine presence early on. Of course, if someone would like to correct me on the Terran build order. It feels like I haven't seen like 2 barracks before expansion before. Pair of Zerglings coming out. They've killed the SCV and their Zerg main, and they're probably going to be moving out here soon as this drone gets over. He's going to want to see what exactly McSmush is up to. So again, usually you see a bunker and command center here. And, ooh, man. It doesn't look like a Tentat got scouting vision on just how many Marines were in McSmush's base. And with the Academy coming down as well, this is starting to look like a, that Overlord might have spotted them, though. Yep, in fact, the Overlord did spot them. We see 2 sunken colonies start immediately. The Tentat is on point, and they should be able to defend from these Marines, especially without any medic support. There's only so much they'll be able to do against 2 sunken colonies, killing them in essentially one shot, as they'll both hit 1 Marine and kill it. Yep. McSmush sees the sunken colonies, has to back away immediately. A Tentat adding on a 3rd one just to be safe. The Academy finishes, and then the engineering bay goes down. Stim starts. McSmush is dedicating themselves to this timing attack to try and just end the game as early as possible, and a Tentat is deflecting it very beautifully. 2 medics getting added on. Once they get down, that'll actually make this attack potent. However, with now 3 sunken colonies here, even with medic support, all a Tentat really has to do is make a couple rounds of Zerglings, and they'll be able to take a very nice engagement around these Marines. So while McSmush has kind of really hindered what their economy is capable of doing, a Tentat has been playing standard. They then saw the aggression coming and said, okay, we'll just play it a little safe, add on a few sunken colonies, and then, they'll get Mutalisks. In fact, it's even better because their Mutalisks only have 1 mineral line to eat and worry about. Oh, Zerglings coming in for the flank. Marines are getting added in at these last 2 barracks here, so there will be some defense. However, that is not a lot of Marines, and if McSmush wants to keep his all his workers alive, well, man, I wish I had SCVs instead of probes. They're so good against Zerglings. And now McSmush is actually pushing down the main without those Zerglings, without any kind of Zerglings here to wrap around the Marines, tank fire for the colonies, and just buy as much time as possible. But the Marines actually are going to be able to push through. McSmush is dedicated to this attack, and a Tentat's Mutalisks, which aren't good in a full-on engagement with Marine medic, He's going to have a really hard time defending his base, and wow, McSmush did it. That's going to be game. Yeah, the mutas are going to evaporate, and the expansion will go down. A Tentat GG's and is knocked out by McSmush in less than 7 minutes. Alright. So unfortunately, a Tentat could not get a victory against each race, but 2-1 is still not a terrible record. Of course, they do have one last game in this group. It's going to be versus Nagi, another Terran, so they might have a chance at redemption. We're going to see. I have to say I was very surprised by that game. I thought for sure that the Marine Medic would be deflected by the Sunken Colonies, but without those Zerglings on the ground to supplement the Sunken Colony defense, Marines can just walk right up, start shooting. So we're going to see if we have a repeat of that this game, or if we're going to get dragged into something longer, or if a Tentat tries to do something similar in the exact same spawn position. So, a Tentat... No, hold on. Oh, Nagi-sama. A Tentat saw that their next game was Terran, and they said, okay, hold on. I just got killed by Marine Medic. Run it back. And then McSmush said, that's not how this works. And Nagi-sama said, it's a best of one. And the Tentat said, no. I want to redo. That was GG, and then we're gonna re. And Nagi-sama, well, I mean, we'll just have the same spawns. And Tentat said, okay, that's how we'll do this. And so Nagi-sama's gonna be in our top right Terran. In the mustard yellow, I think is the color in Brood War, in Remastered. Versus a Tentat with the classic yellow Zerg. This SCV is, yeah, I mean, well, that was a quick scout. Barracks is on the way. And a Tentat going for the 12 hatch once again. So we might be looking at an entirely redone version of this. However, Nagi-sama is scouting a lot quicker than McSmush, so they will know what the Zerg is up to, and they will, I guess we'll see if they go into a similar aggressive playstyle, or if they're going to play more standard and just expand and have a good time. Oh my god. Well, you don't see it every day. The drone tried to make the extractor, and the SCV said, hold on, let me just throw my shit down here. Here's a bunch of mechanical shit. And a Tentat's gas is going to be really heavily delayed. Which actually, I mean, I think I saw this in an ASL game. Not this specifically, but it was a PVZ, where they went and they blocked the gas with an assimilator. I guess it's a bit different because the refinery is going to be only at 100 health. But if this situation ever happens to you, yeah, you can just do what a Tentat does. A Tentat also saw that ASL game, and they said, okay, I'll just build an extractor on my second base. I mean, it's literally a couple seconds from finishing. I'm only going to be delayed by, you know, maybe 10 seconds. And the refinery gets canceled, and a Tentat is going up to 2 gases extremely quickly. Meanwhile, back at base, while that SCV is scouting, Nagi-sama says, okay, I've delayed enough. I'm going to go ahead and get my expansion up. And their bunker is probably going to be following soon behind, with a decent Marine force here to help defend. Or they're going to be getting up to 2 bear. Okay, so I guess I don't know how Terran plays. But yeah, I guess the supply depot and then the Marine wall to block the Zergling run by is pretty effective as well. Usually, I guess you would see like a supply depot and then a bunker, but Terran, so I can't criticize to the with the macro hatch. And their worker count up, getting a couple zerglings. Getting the creep colonies up a little bit early this game. However, I don't think, fortunately, well, they do have scout on the expansion, so they don't quite need the sunken colonies yet. However, a Tentat is coming out of their game versus McSmush. They say, no, I'm not losing to that again, and they're being extremely defensive. We have a comment here that when your gas is delayed that much, that you won't be able to do 2-hatch muta, according to a resident Zerg expert. So that would explain the third macro hatch and the very delayed spire there. Another SCV is sent out to go and scout the Zerg base. However, it will get denied by the sunken colonies set up at the expansion. And Nagi-sama is just getting up into the standard Terran stuff. We see their huge batch of Marines, some medics added in, and Stim and more Marines are on the way, as well as a factory for extra tech. Scan goes down on the expansion. That was the wrong person vision to mute. Yeah, so 2 scans go in, 1 at the expansion, 1 in the main, and as they fade, Nagi-sama has a pretty good idea of what is going on with this game. Tentat even with their engineering bay, they're getting their turrets up by their barracks. Soon they're getting turrets up in their expansion, so preempting the Mutalisk attack, which of course is standard. It's what you do as Terran. You say, hey, there's going to be Mutalisks, and so they build turrets. Yep. As soon as the factory finishes, Nagi-sama starts throwing down their starport. You really get into those really fast science vessels. I'll give them the ability to push out and be safe and fight lurkers and mutas and eventually defilers. Tentat, meanwhile, playing extremely standard. Oh, going to expand in the bottom left, but an SCV is already there to scout and look for what our Zerg player is doing. We can see the drone even moves away to hide, and Nagi-sama goes, the SCV's like, what? What? Freaks out a little and says, must have been the wind, and runs away, but 2 Zerglings come up to take him out. And even with speed, unfortunately, Brood War, pathing, and AI makes it a little hard. The SCV starts moving down to 6, and because the Zerglings are a little dumb, not doing as much damage as they could be, they will not be able to kill the SCV before it confirms that a Tentat has not taken the 6 o'clock base. Mutalisk's now flying over, trying to get some damage done. However, with the turret placement, it will be very hard. They'll either have to commit and get sandwiched by the Marines in an unfortunate position. They will get some damage done, but their pathway out is going to be extremely fraught with peril. However, they get on top of the barracks and do a lot of stuff positionally to them, with only losing a couple of Mutalisks, so not as bad as that could have been there for a Tentat, and they get plenty of incidental damage done, you know, just a poke and a prod. Lurker Aspect and Queen's Nest are on the way, so a Tentat is evolving into a very healthy middle-ish game and preparing for the late game. As Nagi-sama's science facility will be done in just mere moments, and they will be able to get their own mid to late game force arranged. We have a big bio push out trying to force the Mutalisks to not be in the Terran base, because they're going to have to be defending the Zerg's interests. Yeah, you can see the Terran, Nagi-sama is definitely trying to put pressure down on that bottom left base and catch these Mutalisks, like bait them out and catch them in surprise. As the Mutalisks retreat, the Marines will probably continue their march down southwest. We have Lurker Aspect finishing up here for a Tentat, as well as their Hive starting, so they are getting right up into their late game tech. However, they will need, oh man, that drone still hasn't built that base. They will need 3 gases before they can really start pumping out those tier 3 units and have a very powerful force to be reckoned with. Nagi-sama doing a great job scanning repeatedly, trying to make sure that, like, figuring out, okay, where has the Zerg expanded? What's a Tentat doing? Because at this point in the game, a Zerg on 2 bases is not really going to be able to gather up enough steam to contend with a Terran who's going to start mixing in science vessels and irradiates into their playstyle. And an Overlord got sniped, and a Tentat was supply blocked there for just the briefest of moments. However, one benefit that is playing to our Zerg's favor is that while Nagi-sama is spending so many scans trying to make sure a Tentat doesn't have expansions, their Comsat station energy is dwindling more and more. And while it takes maybe 50 seconds for a Comsat station to get enough energy for another scan, each scan not used in a fight is a scan that won't be spotting lurkers later. Oh man, a Tentat is even going into Ultralisks. Oh boy. Yeah. Well, Ultralisks are definitely a play. Unfortunately, based on some past replays that we've seen, going these like really weird, these Ultralist strats before you have your Defilers and before you have a good lurker count, like the Ultralisk Adrenaline strategy, just I don't think I've seen it really pay off. It seems really like a Tentat's hoping that they can just muscle their way into a healthy late game, but Nagi-sama is doing a great job of taxing where the Zerg is able to move. Puts an Irradiate down on a lurker to start, start beginning the push down. And this is not really the position our Zerg player wants to be in. Our Terran, of course, is extremely happy. A lot of Scourge coming out. There may be an opening here to wedge in and take that science vessel, but with this many Marines, it'd be very tricky. And even more Marines coming down. Ultralisks can fight Marines extremely well. However, these Marines are getting pretty heavily upgraded. Plus 2 is about to be done, and the Zerg is only going to be on +1 Carapace. So Ultralisks, unfortunately, will not be as beefy as you normally want them to be with the 5 armor upgrades. Yeah, Nagi-sama's done a great job of just pocketing Marines across the map. They have so many Marines that they can afford the risk and just lose a couple by just leaving them around to make sure that a Tentat can't just sneak a drone like to the 12 and take that base. Science vessels coming in, going to be looking to try and cast a juicy Irradiate on these mutas. But the Scourge, Science vessels took the bait, and just barely 2 of them juke, losing only 1 of their friends. It was Steve, the shittiest science vessel. So no big loss there for our Terran player. Yep, and now our Radiates are going to start going down on the Ultralisks to start quickly winning their health. Big Irradiate on the mutas, no pull away from our Zerg player. And now oh no. Oh. You hate to see it. Let's take a stock of health. That is the luckiest muta alive. But unfortunately, so many mutas were not lucky, and this entire army, we can just look at their health bars and see that they are not going to be able to participate in a fight anytime soon. Which means that right now, Tentat really only has Lurkers, Ultralisks, and Adrenalings to try and combat the Terran force, who is now in a great position, 40 supply ahead, or 50 supply ahead about. One base up, and it's going to be mining soon. And with very good tech. We have 2 dropships on the way, you know, with extremely wounded mutas. With Ultralisks and Adrenalings, I'm not sure how much damage these dropships will actually be able to do, since they don't have medic support or science vessel support. And yeah, it gets cleaned up pretty quickly. 16 Marines really isn't a lot to fight Ultralisks. You need like in those 40s and 50s counts of Marines. But they can make the fight extremely awkward for a Tentat, who has gotten Defilers up. And as their energy climbs, they're going to start casting Consume, and a Tentat is going to try to break out of this Contain, which they might be able to do, but, you know, once the Lurker casts Dark Swarm, they just back off. They don't have to force any kind of fight, but unfortunately, Nagisama, like I said, they just move back here, and then a Tentat has to stay on top of this, keep forcing the Terran back, so they can get some Lurkers on high ground and defend an additional base. But with how many, double Irradiate goes down on the Defiler, a bit inefficient, but at this point in the game, Nagisama can trade efficiency away for just pure resources and positioning, whatever value they can get. And the Zerg starts streaming over, and this entire regiment of Marines is shooting down anything that comes near it. This is the most organized. There's almost enough Marines to body block things outside of the Dark Cloud, but they will be forced to retreat. A lot of medics go down. Another big Irradiate on the Defiler. This will only have one more Dark Swarm left in it, and force the Marines just a bit further back. So a Tentat has made the space that they need to maybe push this into a bit of a longer game, but that's pretty good. There's some nice Lurker shots. Alright. Tentat doing good for themselves. However, that's a very big ball of shooty boys coming down. And you know, with those Irradiates going down on the Defiler, this is the problem when you're only on 2 gases as Zerg. Oh, Marine sniped the drone that was trying to get the mineral only. Yeah, this is the big problem where you lose those Defilers to the science vessels for free, and you won't be able to take any more fights, because it's not about necessarily building the units, but it's more about how you have to account that you're just going to lose 20 Defilers to science vessels, and that's just how the game is going to be. And if you can't replace those 20 Defilers, then the fights are going to start looking like this and thinning out. That said, you know, I love how, you know, I love to say things and then be immediately corrected. A Tentat has pushed the Terran back, but again, it's just waves and waves of Marines. I mean, look at all these flashing barracks up in Nagisama's base. That is about 9 Marines being built at a time, or 7 and 2 medics, as the production dab will actually tell us. And so it really just is a matter of Nagisama honestly just, you know, coming down, finding whatever fights they can take. Some massive Scourge losses there, not a single science vessel goes down. And yeah, the vessels can just push forward, cast Irradiate on the 2 fully healthy Ultras, and turn them into very dead Ultras. I say 3 o'clock hatchery denied, but the 6 o'clock is looking very safe. However, I mean, really, the story is in the gas. Our Zerg player is running out of it, and they're having to rebuild Ultralisks so that they can actually fight the Marines, and they don't have the resources they need to rebuild their critical specialist units like the Defilers. Yeah, an attempted like backstab here, and these Ultralisks will kill these isolated Marines, but now there's really not a whole lot at home. 3 more Ultralisks come out, but this is a massive Marine force and a bunch of science vessels. Drop at the 6, tries to deny it, but Ultralisks will tear them to shreds. And while those Ultralisks are distracted, these Marines are going to push the front base. This Defiler is not careful. It is going to get shot down. Plague goes down on the army, which is a great play as as Zerglings stream out, they will die very quickly. But unfortunately, it is a matter of getting the Zerglings to the Terran army. See that Ultralist spent way too much time fighting a full health Marine. And the Tentat loses their expansion and calls for GG. And loses once again to the Terran. So, probably shouldn't say this, but if you are in chat, I mean, maybe we have a Terran watching, and they're watching the game. Now you know what a Tentat, what they play like. But of course, a Tentat is watching this as well, and seeing Terran. I don't know where I'm going with this, but it's something to think about. I don't know. I'm just yeah, I mean, both of those games, I mean, the first game, you can't really learn anything. That was just like a timing push that you didn't have enough, that there weren't enough Zerglings for to help supplement the sunken colonies. And then the second game, it really was just Nagi-sama was able to position themselves in a really nice way to prevent a Tentat from expanding out. But even on 2 bases, a Tentat played extremely well. I honestly thought they were going to die like 5 minutes earlier than they did. The Defiler and I just didn't think they would have enough gas to build that many Defilers and Ultralisks, but they made them last for a long time. And a Tentat is going to get out of their Group 20 with a very nice 2-2 record. You know what? It's a 50-50. You can't be mad at it. You take the games, you know? You take the wins, you take the losses. So, I was saying earlier, if you're a Terran watching these games, you can say, okay, I know what a Tentat plays like. But then again, if a Tentat gets paired with a Zerg or a Protoss, those were very convincing victories for them. So, again, I don't know where I'm going with this. But our next matchup is going to be Gurthang versus McSmush in a TVP. We're going to see if McSmush is as good against the laser aliens as they are against the claw aliens. Or acid aliens, or whatever you want to call the Zerg. We're going to hop right into it. Yeah. Alright. Let's switch our stream over to our game, as we're going to correct some player names on our overlay. In the top right corner of Polypoid, spawning there once again, we have McSmush, playing as the Steel Gray Terran this time around. And in the bottom left corner of Polypoid, we have Gurthang, who has taken up the, I want to say that's the regular yellow, but I'm pretty sure that's wrong. It looks like the lime yellow? A lime yellow Protoss. You can sprinkle these guys in your guacamole or over your chips, and you'll get a very nice, zesty taste with it. Yeah, cross spawns on Polypoid, so nothing too cheesy from either players can happen. Of course, you don't see it a whole lot. I just want to say that every time I cast in case something cheesy does happen, and then I get to look smart. But nothing too cheesy can really come out of cross spawns, or at least aggression-wise. Protoss could always 12 Nexus and take that risk. But oftentimes taking those risks, those are something you don't really want to do. You can do in a best of 1 if you want the easy win, but oftentimes in a best of 1 it's just best to play standard, play your best game, and take those risks in a best of 3, where if they don't pay off, you can always make up for it later. Good placement here from the barracks and supply depot. We'll probably see another supply depot put right there for the anti-zealot attack. Probe goes out, starts scouting to the north, and then we'll head right and see the Terran, while the SCV here starts moving out to go see what our Protoss player is up to. Cybernex core goes down. probe is now making their way over into the actual base of McSmush, but we have a Marine set up on the cliff there to scare him away. The probe will probably still get in, but second Marine might do it, and the probe will die. It sees the factory, however, it doesn't make it all the way up to the refinery to see what exactly the gas mining situation is, and it looks like McSmush is going. After the probe dies, they're putting all 3 of their SCVs back on gas, which usually is the telltale sign of a 2-factory push or a just something really aggressive. Oh, and an unfortunate scouting pattern here for McSmush. His SCV scouts immediately to the bottom and then heads cross spawn, so they are not going to know where the Protoss player is, and Girthang is going for an extreme, this is a DT rush, which if McSmush is not careful about, and actually McSmush is expanding, so I was wrong about the 2-fac, but someone says, is McSmush Mr. 2-fac? Of course I get the game where he's not Mr. 2-fac. But yeah, there's that DT rush coming out of Girthang, which I've played Girthang a couple of times. I think I played him a couple of times last season, and I think I lost to DTs every time I played against him. So he's really good at this build. It's very tight, and I'm sure he's going to cause a lot of problems for his opponent, who hasn't even begun to think about getting a comset station or turrets. Maybe now. Alright, engineering base started, so that means that McSmush should be safe from the first Dark Templar as it moves across the map. However, Girthang is playing, he's not dedicating entirely to the rush. He does, of course, have an expansion on the way, so there will be a transfer out period. And he's going straight into a Stargate. After that, it's about halfway done. So even if this Dark Templar doesn't get the damage that Girthang wants, he does have outs here. He's not dedicating all of his resources and time into hoping that this DT attack works, because it won't. As the engineering bay finishes, there will be a turret put up right there at the main. McSmush, this is a really smart call. Honestly, if you send an SCV out and your Protoss has a Dragoon sitting on the ramp to keep you out, it's probably extremely safe to think that they're going for Dark Templar. So as the Dragoon walks up, it's going to get hit by a Siege Tank blast and run away, scared. Now the Dark Templar is going to filter out, and that is an extremely fast Arbiter Tribunal. Girthang is going straight into, he is just a Templar tech man. He says, you know what, we got the Dark Templar, now we need to get those Arbiters. I normally wouldn't have thought when the Dragoon crested up there that it saw the missile turret. It looked like it was out of the range, but maybe the vision revealed by the Siege Tank showed the missile turret as well, as the DT isn't running up there and dying, so he's probably being pretty safe. Girthang going for an extremely fast Nexus. Yeah, honestly, this is probably the game that made McSmush go, I'm just going to 2-fac every game in week 2, because if he had done that, he would have easily, well actually, the Dark Templar rush would be able to fight the 2-fac until Spider Mines get out, but I mean, at this point, he would have enough army to just move across the map and punish Girthang. Did I hear a comset station? I did. Scan goes down in the main, and he should have gotten vision of the Arbiter Tribunal. Unfortunately, we don't know for sure, because buildings disappear on the minimap, because it's Brood War. But he sees the Arbiter Tribunal, so McSmush should know about what to expect from coming into this game. And coming up for the fights ahead. Girthang is just really focused on getting that macro up. I mean, his mineral-only base is now up, so he's on 3 mining bases really quickly. The DT is going to maybe poke around just to see if there's anything it can hit, and there is a tank right on the edge that is going to get again, and then the DT runs right away. That is a really nice play. I love to see these little value plays where the player goes, oh, hey, hold on, I can just grab that real quick. Of course, McSmush sees that happen, and then he's like, okay, I need to lay things out. So that won't happen again. Yep, SCV's going to put up missile turrets on the edge of the base to prepare for the Arbiter that is going to be coming out soon. That is out already. And Girthang just gets into their the rest of their tech, observatory and whatnot. However, it is not at all standard to have an Arbiter out before your observers. So. I mean, it was a risky move there from Girthang, and it doesn't look like McSmush is really interested in punishing it. They're just getting up their basic Terran stuff, trying to be as defensive as possible, leaving a lot of their tanks behind. Vultures are going to start moving out on the map, and speed is going to finish here relatively shortly. They'll be able to get some harassment done. There really isn't a lot of Protoss army, like even the small number of Dragoons. Honestly, Vultures are terrible at fighting Dragoons, but when you have a lot of Vultures, they can kind of do okay against them. Ooh, DT catches a couple of Vultures out on the map, tries to grab them, gets one, but the rest will make their way around. Yeah, Probe goes to try and take that 9 o'clock, but the SCV does see it, and the Vultures will come and kill it. But it was hiding the fact that Girthang was actually trying to expand to the 6 o'clock. Mines will come up, kill some Dragoons, damage the other. And Girthang, again, McSmush just isn't really punishing the greed that's coming out of Girthang. They really don't have the army to defend. It feels like they don't have the army to defend these bases. I mean, a pretty dedicated push. Especially with this next wave of siege tanks, feels like it should be able to like wedge up maybe on this side of the 6 o'clock and deny it, but Protoss is scary. So, especially with an Arbiter, it does have stasis fully researched, and it's let's see, take a look at the Arbiter's energy. It is almost up to 200, and that is 2 stasises. Alright, Girthang finally is getting to that healthy Dragoon count where they can start roaming around the map. And honestly, I feel like I'm not calling this game correctly because the Arbiter was out so early. It throws the calculus of engagements off so much. So, like, maybe Girthang was a lot safer in this situation than I thought. However, there is a very open flank here to just run into the natural and maybe take some pot shots at probes with how open this space is. McSmush again is just trying to keep Girthang off of taking this top left corner. It's not really where he needs to be focusing on. Girthang's army is completely out in the middle of the map. If McSmush tries to come in for a full-on attack, they will engage with the army, but with these Vultures running around, they could easily just run around and flank the regular bases. Girthang's cut a lot of corners this game, and it's paying off in spades. Really good stuff. We are going to take a look at our upgrades here. Protoss is pretty far behind. It feels like the only one attack upgrade. Well, Terran is about to have their own +1 and their armor upgrade shortly behind it. And once they start their second attack upgrade is when the Terran army is really going to start being an oppressive force that can really move out and start getting a bunch of free damage. Vulture's a bit Unfortunately, they can't shoot at the Arbiters, so they are just left to the whims of the Protoss army. They're finally going to try to swoop in here. Really nice moving shot there, and they're going to get up into the probe line and start just taking pot shots at Girthang's probe lead. And while they won't even up the game, it'll at very least, gosh dang, it'll at very least make it slightly, put Girthang slightly less ahead, as they're now also getting, they are finally actually taking that 9 o'clock base, while McSmush is still stuck onto trying to get their third. Turrets leapfrogging out into the middle of the map, and so McSmush will probably also be able to, and they have the command center already prepped, ready to float over to the mineral only. And Girthang says, you know what, I'm ahead on bases. I have my 9 o'clock. I'm gonna take the bottom right too. That's really good. You know, when you start getting to these positions, you can just play SimCity and start throwing bases down. And because the Terran army can't be everywhere, you can just say, yeah, okay, I have bases everywhere. What are you going to do about it? And the Terran just kind of says, well, I can't do anything about it. And then you recall them to their main. The recall that you're researching now, and win the game that way. Big SCV transfer, so McSmush is now on appropriately full 3 mining bases. Vultures going to scout out the bottom right. They should at least kill the probe. They probably, they might be able to deny the Nexus, because Girthang's army is all the way over on the other side of the map. But some, yeah, you can see, you know, a small detachment of Dragoons and an Arbiter is sent down to save that base, while the rest of the main army sort of holds the line up here. Vultures lay some mines down to try and make it as hard for the Dragoons to get up there as possible. The Nexus, undeterred by the Terran presence, starts making probes. And the mines actually do more damage to the Vultures than as is required, written into Brood War law, is that the Spider Mines must do at least 75% of their damage to their own player. Girthang's just going to start making more probes to get this base mining. Their probe lead is big, and it's only going to get bigger. And the dropship's out. 4 vultures loaded up, probably to hit some of these outlying bases. Unfortunately, at the angle they're going in, they're going to find the 9 o'clock, and there is 1 probe there. Not really worth a drop, but if they go right into the natural, they can set up in this little corner and get some good hits in. I would say Girthang is floating a lot of resources, but, you know, they're at 200 supply, so they're allowed to do that. Yeah, and even Dragoons spot the dropship coming up. Oh, an observer was up there, so the Dragoons will scare the dropship away from being able to do anything. But yeah, at this point, oh my god, oh. I really want to see what a macro cycle out of this base looks like, because that looks... Holy shit, I guess Dragoons could fit up that way. That is an extremely good SimCity there from Girthang. As their units die, they will be able to basically replenish their entire army. Mind drag up into the SCV line. Unfortunately, only gets a couple of SCVs, and not a whole lot is accomplished by that Zealot run by, as McSmush replenishes their spider mines in that area. Oh, Vulture drop in the bottom right. There are a lot of probes down there, and even with, you know, usually photon cannons can fight Vultures, but actually no, they only have +1/+1. They will force Girthang to kind of come back and recognize that there are Vultures in their bottom right base, though. Pick off a couple more probes. like they might be able to get this whole line, and McSmush now is ahead in workers, having killed an entire probe line. Zealots moving in to try and fight those vultures. They should actually die to all of these spider mines. Yeah. Great SimCity here with the two supply depots that would really hiccup any kind of run-by that Girthing could attempt. And the Zealots do come up to fight the vultures. Normally that's a bad matchup, but when there's spider mines in play, wacky stuff happens. You can just trade some, you can just have a spider mine hit every possible vulture and just end the harassment that way. You know, we have an arbiters, a trio of arbiters. McSmush finally going to move out and engaging the Protoss army. Nice stasis there, catches some of the tech stuff. Really nice stasis there, catches a lot of the Terran army. And so as these Zealots move in to coalesce on these tanks, this army will get cleaned up extremely easily by our Protoss player. As the rest of the Terran force kind of tries to reinforce, so much of it is locked up in those stasis cubes that you know, they're going to rely on these final like 10 or so tanks coming up. Those three arbiters going in for a recall. And McSmush is about to be very sad. Oh, they're heading right into the main, sacrificing an entire arbiter just to do that. And McSmush is moving across the map to try and fight the Protoss. And in fact, okay, recall does go down, loses another arbiter. But now there are Protoss in McSmush's main, and they can either make the choice to try and keep pushing and turn this into a base race, which they would probably lose because this, or they can try to return and fight up their own ramp into a Protoss Dragoon force that is absolutely tearing through their... Oh, and stasis on the ramp. Oh, the style, the grace, the stasis in that place is going to secure the game. Not probably secure the game. McSmush does still have a very powerful Protoss army. Terran army, I'm forgetting races here, but a spider mine kills more Terran than it does Protoss, and the push is going to lose. The factories are going to fall pretty quickly just because Terran can't get up there and defend. Yeah, it's just all of McSmush's infrastructure is going to go down, and Girthing can replenish his army infinitely. This is looking like a pretty solid Protoss victory here. As you know, tanks die, the stasis finally ends, so McSmush will be able to get up into their own base finally. And another stasis, completely locking McSmush out. This has to be one of the angriest moments in McSmush's playing history, because that just looks painful. That looks like this is the kind of thing that happens in Brood where you just say, okay, I need to take a break for a moment. I gotta go play something less stressful and go, like, play League of Legends or something. I don't know. Are there other games other than Brood War? Yeah. McSmush is gonna have to completely rebuild all their factories. I'm not even sure where they have room for, since, you know, they can't do it in their main. And so Girthing can just start rallying units over across the map, and, you know, these Dragoons up at the front are having free reign. There's nothing in the main anymore. All McSmush has is a couple of spinning armories. And that's the GG. Girthing takes it over the Terran player. McSmush. GG's to both our players. That was a very well-played game. Girthing just, Girthing just did the Protoss thing that all the Terrans complain about. You know, sometimes you see a game, as a Protoss player, you hear Terrans talk about PvP, and you go, I don't know if I believe you, because I play PvT, and that's hard. And then you watch a game like that, and you go, oh, okay, no, the Terrans kind of do have a point. Is Protoss a bullshit race? Are we all clowns? And you see a game like that, and you go, man, I mean, that was just a complete, like, it was Gerthang did what they want, not to dismiss the skill involved with that, because Gerthang played very well, but you see 2 stasises on a ramp, and you kind of have to think about things like that. Our next game is going to be another PVT. We're going to have Gerthang versus Nagi-sama. We're going to hop right into it. We're going to knock these games out. We're going to get in and see what exactly happens in this. If Gerthang goes for that fast arbiter DT attack, if Nagi-sama does something entirely different, who knows? We're going to switch over to the stream. Have to change some names on our overlay. In our top right corner, again, apparently Terrans just only want to spawn in the top right corner. We have our orange Terran this time, Nagi-sama. Opposite their opponent, the teal Protoss, the best color in Brood War, Gerthang. Yeah. We're gonna see if this game, how this game plays out, see if it's what differences our players, how they approach it. We'll see a lot of fun things. SCV scouts down immediately, so they will first scout Gerthang. As this probe moves out the scout, I think they're going to be... Yeah, looks like they're heading left. Do the workers see each other? They do. We'll see if that changes any of their positioning. Nope, Gerthang dedicates to going and scouting the left side of the map. As the SCV gets up into the Protoss main, sees nothing unusual. Cybercore goes down as soon as the gateway finishes. So, Nagi-sama just chills out, continues making their barracks. And, yeah. Looks like the command center... They're going for a bunker... No, a supply depot in the... Set something up here real quick. Alright. Probe moves up into Nagi-sama's main to get the scout on. And it's actually going to see that Nagi-sama hasn't even started their gas yet, so these first couple Dragoons coming out from Gerthang are really going to be able to abuse the bunker for a very long time because of how delayed the factory is going to be. With the delayed factory, we're going to have a delayed everything else. And Gerthang is going to go into that Citadel of Adun and get those Dark Templar, swipey, capey boys. I'm sensing a pattern here from our Protoss player. Oh no, the SCV is going to get in. There was some fancy micro there from our... Oh, the probe is going to try and stop him, but the SCV barely won't get... Oop, won't get down there to see what is going on with this Citadel of the Dune. Girthing must have been sweating bullets and trying to prevent that scout from going off, as now the Templar Archives goes down, and Nagi-sama is going for an academy for Engineering Bay. Comsat stations are a lot trickier to... Actually, no, the Engineering Bay started at the same time. Please, I'm missing I've even had the screen over an Engineering Bay. This happens. So, again, we're probably going to see something similar to our last game, where our Terran player, Nagi-sama, is going to have a turret up here to defend from the Dark Templar. And in fact, this is a game where going for that quick Dark Templar isn't actually going to help Girthing out as much, because Nagi-sama is taking a quick economy lead. They aren't being punished for getting siege tanks really late by the Dragoon hitting the bunker, but that is an extremely fast Arbiter as well. In fact, it seems like Girthing isn't getting into Dark Templar at all, as his units kind of poke up at the front. Nope, there is a DT coming up. But the SCVs will come up to repair, and the tank is mere seconds away from coming out. And while siege mode is a bit further behind, this is something that could have been happening for a minute or two already, and it's only been happening for like 10 seconds. Is that another turret? Yeah, so another turret going down in the natural, as another Dragoon gets sent up. An SCV nearly glitches out. That's going to cause a problem, but he does get up there to start repairing, and the Dragoons will just keep blowing on the bunker until this siege tank gets into siege position. Oh, Zealot actually tanking a couple shots, but the Dragoons will get out pretty unscarred as they move away. 3 more gateways being added on into this Arbiter play as well. Scan went down, sees the natural with the Dark Templar. But they really need to be scanning into the main to see the Arbiter coming out. Players, once the Arbiter comes out, it's going to make the push from if the Terran tries to push, it's going to make it very tricky. So maybe there's something to this. I thought Girthing was playing extremely greedy in their game versus McSmush, but maybe if they get an Arbiter out that fast, they can actually hold a surprising amount with very little actual gateway units. Vultures try to sneak out, but they will get caught by the Protoss army. The Zealot tries to run in just to see what Nagi-sama has. Doesn't get too much information, but they will barely miss this Vulture. Oh, no, Vulture runs back briefly, takes one more shot, but will live just a moment. Nope, it's gonna get caught and killed. Unfortunately for it. Another Arbiter on the way, one already out with stasis. Nagi-sama's doing a good job pushing, just leapfrogging turrets out and getting in a position to try and take their mineral only pretty soon. Right, scans go down, and nope, that's the wrong player. And still nothing. Like Nagisama still hasn't seen even the Arbiter Tribunal. They scanned in the wrong area and just saw gateways, so there's still the calculus of them that they're going through in their head is going to be off. They won't be factoring Arbiters into like the army, the kind of army that they need. We can see that reflected with how there aren't any Goliaths out yet. Vultures come down, make sure that Girthing hasn't been playing too greedy and hasn't started building nexuses in random spots on the map. And these two are going to come and check 6 o'clock just in case. And nope, there is nothing there either. Scan goes down, and the Arbiter is included in it. So Nagisama probably now knows what is going on. The Protoss pushing out now. They're going to try to angle in to a position where the mineral-only base can be denied as easily as possible. Nagisama's getting in a pretty decent position themselves. Dark Templar tries to maneuver around the minefield, but a science vessel will spot him, and the Goliath will take him out. Alright, Girthing is going in for the engagement. Yep, it looks like there's a couple moments. Alright, a decent stasis right there, catches at least 2 tanks. The fight here, an insanely good storm goes down on some back row tanks, and then they get stasis. Probably not the right tanks to stasis, considering they're very low health, but at the very least, Girthing is going to prevent Nagisama from taking the space for just a couple more moments. And they're going to be able to push a bit of their economic 3 bases advantage onto them. Reinforcements coming up from the bottom. Looks like it's mostly a mix of Dragoons and Zealots. And if we do a quick energy check on the Arbiters here, looks like we are out of, well, we have 1 more stasis left in them, probably right there. Catches a lot of mech. Actually, I didn't think that Vulture would be included, but yeah, Protoss is just going to push forward. Really nice defensive matrix there on that siege tank, keeps it alive for very long. Another storm goes down, weakens a lot of these back row tanks. But unfortunately, the front is tanking pretty much everything for Nagisama. And the Protoss player is forced to retreat, and Nagisama will be able to take their mineral only. But it seems like they're going to wait just a few moments and let the stasis run out on their forces before they try to push the issue. Because you never know, when a lot of the map is dark, you never know where. You never know where Protoss is hiding. Especially when the caster accidentally clicks vision off of both players and the whole map is dark. Yeah. Girthing trying to set up to where they can clear the 6 o'clock and build a base there, but well-placed mine is going to prevent the probe from just doing whatever it wants. And Girthing is going to either need to eat a mine shot with one of their regular units, or wait for an observer to get over there before they can actually expand. Meanwhile, Nagisama is now developing, finally getting up to base parity with the Protoss player, just in time for the Protoss player to grab a 4th and even it up. And, you know, evening up on bases is really good for Nagi-sama because they've been really on top of their macro this whole game. They're about 20-ish, 30-ish supply ahead of the Protoss, and that is not a situation where Protoss wants to be in against Terran. Protoss units are very supply intensive, like they need a lot of supply to work. While Terran units, I mean, a siege tank is as much supply. I think a siege tank is as much supply as a zealot. I'm at least 70% sure that a siege tank is only 2 supply. So when you think about it like that a Terran supply-wise can have as many siege tanks versus a Protoss's zealots, being ahead in supply is very good for the Terran. Both players macroing pretty well. We have a healthy, looks like 7 going up to 8 factories. And last game, Gurthang had an absolute, like, I don't know what to call that many gateways Gurthang has. And judging by the giant blocks of teal in the bottom right, I'm almost scared to look. We're going to click on there just as soon as Gurthang finishes cleaning up these vultures, and we'll take a quick peek before this fight starts. Holy shit. Okay, anyways, Gurthang goes to begin the fight, and ooh, EMP goes down. That is huge there for Nagi-sama, as Gurthang has been on only... Oh, well, Reserve Arbiter comes up. That one can't be EMP. Well, actually, I think this... Nope, that Science Missile doesn't have enough energy to EMP all 3 Arbiters. So another stasis is probably going to go down on this huge clump of vultures. That's actually not very ideal, because now as the Protoss tries to move in, they have to move around this block of blue crystals. And the Zealots are going to evaporate, and the tanks are just going to start blasting through all the Dragoons. Now, a lot of these tanks are on a bad positioning, so they're firing up on high ground, but yeah. Not a great position for our Protoss player, but we had a quick peek at it earlier. Let's just take let's take a moment and appreciate what Gurthang has done with their base. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 gateways. That's a lot of gateways. It actually is about how many gateways a Protoss wants for being on 3-ish, 3.5 bases, since this one hasn't fully started mining yet. So this is like about the correct number of gateways, but usually in CPL it's really hard to see when you're positioning your buildings to be planning ahead. It takes a lot of practice to really know how to like put your pylons in such a way that you can space your gateways out just perfectly. And it looks like Gurthang has practiced that a lot, and it's really helping them maintain their macro and catch back up after losing their entire army in kind of a failed push at the 3rd. However, Nagi-sama now has the Terran force, and if we look at their upgrades, they're on the Terran upgrades. They're at 1 armor, 2 attack. Those are the magic numbers for the Terran player, where their siege tanks are going to start just shredding through everything. And now the rest of the army of Vultures and Goliaths are going to be able to take up on this high ground under siege tank support. And Gurthang is going to have to try to come around and maybe flank it, but some Vultures, which kind of were misrallied, actually ends up helping Nagi-sama, because they know where the Protoss army is for sure now. Behind this, Nagi-sama is taking 12 o'clock, which is really great. When you attack and you expand behind the attack, also, man, those Arbiters are trying to get a good stasis, but the Goliaths melt them, and they have to quickly get one off on only a single siege tank. It looks like the battle, it almost looks like the battle could go either way, but as those Zealots dry up, the Dragoons are going to die in mere microseconds. Double Storm down on the tank does thin the numbers a whole lot, but they weren't thin to the point that Gurthang needs, and Nagi-sama exits that fight with a nearly 40 supply advantage, maybe a little over 40 supply as their macro cycles start coming in, and Gurthang is now running out of minerals. They lost a mining base. They had to transfer everything down to the 6 o'clock, but that is not going to provide them with the income they need to support the bases and support the trades that they're trying to take. They lost, it looks like they lost all the arbiters, and we can look at the production tab, we can look at just look around at their army. It doesn't look like they've replaced the arbiters, and that is a vital unit that they need, Protoss needs to be able to fight a late game Terran army with their upgrades. Let's just check, see what our upgrades are looking like for our Protoss player. That's the wrong button. How did I turn the map off? Okay. So we're looking at +2 attack from our Protoss. No armor upgrades yet, so that is the first one being made in production. Yeah, that's not good. That's actually very bad. Terran is still sitting on 2-1. They haven't been started researching their other ones yet, so yeah, these tanks have pure, like, hot anti-Protoss lead in them, and to the point where even the Vultures are going to start being able to go toe-to-toe with Dragoons, honestly. Zealots are going to try to come up, but they're going to be coming up right into the Vulture line. They try to run up to get on top of the siege tanks, but they are shredded by the Vulture's concussive grenades. Dragoons try to get on top of the siege tanks, but they are also shredded by the Vulture's grenades. And that fight looks a lot better for the Protoss. Only 3 tanks remain, but the reinforcements are going to steadily trickle in. Nagi-sama is doubling Gurthang's supply, and this is starting to look like a kill move here. Gurthang leaves the game. Okay position. I mean, yeah. Sometimes you just look at it. You look at how the game is set up. You look at where you're at as a Protoss player. You look at where your opponent is at as a Terran player, and you go, okay, no, if I stay and drag this out, it's just gonna waste both of our times. You leave. GG. Both our players played very well. Gurthang attempted to do the same style they did against McSmush. However, Nagi-sama was a bit more proactive on moving out of the map, and they were able to take a lot better fights, especially when the Arbiters started hitting not the best stasises in the world and really messing up where Gurthang wanted to be. Exit replay. All right. So our 2 Terran players have been having a time of it in this group. Gurthang is up. Gurthang is down 1-2. So our next game is going to be Gurthang's last game in the group versus Nice Pants. So we're for a PVZ, which is a matchup. It definitely is one of, I think it's one of the harder ones. Gurthang has been they played in last CPL, so I'm not expecting them to like lose too badly to anything like a Hydra bust. But unfortunately, in PVZ, sometimes a Hydra bust happens, and you just go, oh, you know, you even see it in ASL, where a pro will go into the game, and then sometimes Hydras just kill them, and you go, oh, yeah, that happens, I guess. But, you know, as you get better in the game, this is kind of, I think, a tier 2-ish matchup, because I've played with Gurthang a couple of times. I've seen Nice Pants in the RSL, and they do pretty well there. So I think this is kind of like a tier 2-ish, and when you get up into those ranks, the threat of Hydra Bust eliminating the Protoss is less, but still ever present. Gurthang moving a probe out. Okay, moves the probe out a bit early. Sometimes it's extremely hard to judge when that probe needs to first move out and get into the rhythm of doing it correctly. You know, it's always sometimes feels like it's too late or too early. The probe immediately comes up into the 12 o'clock to see if they can catch the scouting overlord. And they're not going to see it and immediately start heading down south because they know that the Zerg absolutely cannot be in this position. So the probe is just going to check for the next closest base. Of course, the overlord is sent right across the map, counterclockwise, as Zerg does. Oh, I'm sorry. Probe is first going to come back, build a gateway, which is probably like the more popular variation now. A lot of Protoss. I can't remember the last time. I remember watching ASL, and there were very few games where the Protoss player actually went Forge fast expansion. Gateway fast expansion is more in style recently because it gives you a lot more flexibility in how you want to play the game. Like that first Zealot comes out, and if you scout your opponent and they're being aggressive, you keep the Zealot back at base. If you get out and you scout this kind of thing where they've built the hatchery first, you can throw that first Zealot out, move them across the map, and try to just annoy the Zerg. You usually can't get like game-winning damage, but you delay the Zerg from being able to attack you for as long as possible, and you take the best trades that you can, right? You force a bunch of Zerglings coming out, and you delay like every other little bit of their game by just that much. Okay, and Girthang is actually going right into a Cybernetics core. The standard gateway expand that I'm aware of, it has you just building Zealots, and then on 21 supply you build the Nexus to expand. Of course, if the Zerg is going for a really fast attack, you build a Forge first to get cannons just to be super safe. And with the probe, I think, having left the Zerg main, Girthang is going to completely miss these 8 Zerglings spawning, and they went for a Cybernetics core really quickly. They did this in their Terran versus Terran games as well, where they cut a lot of corners to get their tech up as fast as possible. We saw that with how quickly they got Arbiters out. And in versus Terran, you can get away with that a little bit more because the Terrans naturally play a bit more passively and defensively early game. In how the matchup works. But against Zerg, it's a lot riskier because now Zerg, you tend to say, usually you get only like 6 Zerglings or 8 Zerglings and run across the map, but they come across and they see, oh, you just have some Zealots. Nice Pants can try to force the issue and bust their way into the main. Yeah, the Zerglings are getting complete surround on the Zealots. All 3 of the initial Zealots are going to die, and Girthang is going to be throwing up a cannon in their main base to prevent the Zerglings from coming and like killing them immediately. But this pylon is going to fall, depowering the gateway before a 4th Zealot can get out. And now Girthang's in a really tough spot because while the Zerglings will run up here and there were cannons building, and it's going to be really hard to attack into the probe line. Oh man. A lot of Zerglings are just getting in. Girthang's microing their probes as much as possible. That cannon's going to have to get cancelled or denied. I couldn't quite tell where its health was sitting at. The second cannon will finish, but we still have a depowered gateway. We don't have anything defending the natural. So if Nice Pants just floods more and more Zerglings in, there's nothing to defend this base. Girthang will lose it. And the natural base is so critical for the Protoss to control. Luckily for Girthang, though, Nice Pants is taking their 3rd hatchery, and, well, I was going to say only sending in a trickle in of Zerglings at a time, but we have a next huge wave coming, and that looks like that's going to be game. I mean, so much got thrown off here for Girthang. And so I think this is a really good example of why when you go for the fast expansion, why you don't skip the Forge. Because this can happen, and you have to basically always be early game Protoss. The idea is you have to just be assuming that the Zerg is coming to kill you at all moments in the game, right? Like, you assume that a Ling Flood is coming super early unless you've confirmed it's not happening. You assume that the Hydra Bust is after that, and then you have to prepare for those assumptions. And so if you assume that your opponent isn't coming to kill you, those are the games where the Zerg playing reactively can say, oh, you don't have a Forge and cannons at your natural, and you get into this situation. Which the cannons in the main will protect the probes. There's a double Forge here, just a wall in and keep the probes safe. That is a very cute play. I enjoy that a lot. It's very funny to see. It's just one of those things where, like, oh yeah, that makes sense. If the game weren't so incredibly close to being over already, that's the kind of play that's like, maybe that works out. Maybe that does actually help a whole lot. But the Hydra Den is finished. Hydralisks are on the way, and then it'll just be mere moments before they shoot down all the cannons and kill the Protoss player. But Girthang is going to make Nice Pants work for it. Yeah, that is a lot of probes fighting. A lot of one cannon does fall. Our replacement is trying to get up, but again, once the Hydralisks come up and they can poke the gateway out, they can poke the forges out, I think Girthang is going to realize the position the game's in, or he's gonna keep trying. Because you always believe this is Brood War. There's always a hope. There's always a chance. And sometimes you just leave the game. Yeah. All right. GG's to both of our players. Girthang played pretty well in their TVPs, but sometimes the games go like that, and they're going to exit out of their group with a 1-3. You can't really, in a best of one situation, you know, we say they won 1, they lost 3. It's a best of one situation, so the games, sometimes you flip a coin and it lands tails 3 times in a row. There's not really a lot you can glean from the results of these matches to say, okay, maybe on average, like, there's a bunch of stuff that you can do, but that's for a statistician, and I'm not that. I just want to sit around and look at aliens kill each other. Speaking of aliens killing each other, that's not what we're going to be getting from our next game. We're going to be getting McSmush versus Nagi, which is only humans killing each other in a TVT on Polypoid. Let's go. My favorite. Hopping right into it. We'll get some Terran versus Terran. This is going to make up the bulk of our runtime today. I feel like we've, according to our stream thing, we've been going for about 2.5 hours already. So I think we're going to have about another hour and a half in this game alone. In the bottom right corner of Polypoid, we have McSmush representing the White Terrans faction in this war. And in the bottom left corner, we have Nagi-sama heading up the dark blue Terran. That's not the right name. Let me fix this. All right. Okay, then OBS. All right. So this is going to be TVT, a matchup that I know. This is the matchup I know the least about, because I don't play Terran and I don't like watching this. But I'm gonna cast this game. I'm here to cast Starcraft. That's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna talk about Terran versus Terran. The most dynamic and explosive matchup that everyone loves to view. Yep. I shouldn't be. McSmush has their anti-zealot wall in place. Again, the barracks isn't too important in TVT, so it can just kind of go anywhere. Nagi-sama scouts straight up. McSmush is going to scout to the left. So there isn't really going to be a. McSmush is also scouting straight up. So both of our Terran players are probably going to last scout each other unless they do a weird diagonal scout after their first one. But I say it's weird for a reason. So McSmush's SCV is gonna come up, try to scout and shoot away. Luckily, the AI will run him away, or I think McSmush noticed, and runs the SCV away fast enough before it is actually killed by the Marines. However, with 3 Marines up here, ooh, okay, yep. Nagisama also pulls their own SCV away, and it should be able to get away without harm. 2 factories coming down from Nagisama, 2 factories coming down from McSmush somewhere. Oh! It's gonna be one of these TVTs. Alright, never mind. I'll ignore all my sarcasm that I opened this match with. I'm now extremely interested to see what happens as both players go for like some sort of 2-factory play, and McSmush goes for a factory proxy factory play. What a time to be alive. McSmush going building siege tanks, getting siege mode, and they're gonna proxy a tank push. Amazing. They're gonna proxy a tank push. Hell yeah. I'm here for it. I don't think that's a build. I've never seen it before, but this is the wacky shit I live for. I mean, imagine being Nagisama and you're just like, okay, I'm going 2-fac volt. No, Goliaths. Okay, never. I don't know how to play this game. I don't understand this matchup. So this is amazing. So 2-factory Goliaths. Hold on. Those aren't vultures. So McSmush is gonna push across the map, and I guess Nagisama won't see it because the vulture is taking a wide berth around where McSmush's, I guess, scouting barracks would be, and is going to try and slide up in here to get some shots on the SCVs. Meanwhile, yeah, those siege tanks are just gonna. Siege tank Marine is just gonna sit there, and the Goliaths are gonna have a hard time, I guess, fighting them at all. Yeah, there's the siege up. 2 shots go down, kill a Marine, badly hurt one of them. And yeah, McSmush is just gonna keep pushing forward. Siege is another tank forward. You can see SCVs are starting to try and pull up to try and. Nope, and SCV's gonna come forward, tank the tank shots, and give the Goliaths enough room to get on top of the tanks and really just show why Goliaths are a pretty good unit. They have pretty decent damage output. SCVs turn around, start repairing Goliath, and Nagisama handles that extremely well. McSmush is now having to siege tanks up on the high ground where their factory is, because if Nagisama sees it and goes kills it, they're going to be put down a factory, which is a very serious investment. Barracks will die, so McSmush is going to have to replace that before they can really start making factories to get their factory count up. And they start doing, before the barracks dies, they squeeze in. Nope, never mind, that is the wrong production tab I'm looking at. I was going to say they squeeze in the academy, but I'm looking at Nagisama's. So, instead, McSmush is getting their command center ready to lift off somewhere, and based on where it's positioned right here, nope, that's a barracks, never mind. Oh, Jesus. I'm messing up bad this time. I see that a game doesn't have aliens, and any possible skill I have as a caster, what little of it, goes completely out the window. Yeah. Nagisama's moving across the map with their Goliaths. Of course, McSmush has a couple of siege tanks set up in their own main, so they will be able to prevent them from like getting any serious damage done or killing, like them losing the game. But now I think we're going to probably start transitioning. Oh, vultures come in. No Goliaths in the natural. So, 2 SCVs killed. Actually, probably more because these Goliaths are very slow. Nope. Mines are going to be laid. Oh, great great focus fire here from Nagi-sama. Shoots the mines as they're being laid. And the Vulture will get tripped up on SCVs and die. Nagi-sama won't lose too much, although they will need to get an SCV down here to finish that command center. Since McSmushes is already coming into position. Nagi-sama now knows of where their opponent's factory location is, and I'm very surprised. Oh, there is a starport, so Wraiths will be on the way. One started just now, and that will pretty much force McSmush to start having to run their factory away. The Wraith should probably finish before McSmush. Oh man, a really great engagement there with the Goliaths. Are going to at least force the tanks to unsiege. And they should, yeah, the Goliaths are actually going, just barely don't clean up the tanks. And McSmush is still going to be able to hold their position. The factory from McSmush is about to finish, so we should see some Goliaths mixed in here to maintain the pushing capability of these tanks. And yeah, one Wraith has come out. And it should be able to start picking off the, well, ooh, Goliaths on move command. That is not an A move. Unfortunately, we'll get cleared by the spider mines, which is unfortunate to see. Goliaths aren't Dragoons and actually can be A moved into spider mines when you have, like, 3 or 4 of them. Yeah, so the Wraith finally making it over its way over here, and it's going to slowly start killing this siege tank, dealing like 7 damage a shot. The factory's going to lift and try to fly away to a safer position, but the Wraith will follow it, and they actually leave the add-on behind. So, if Nagi-sama wanted to, they could they could start building a factory of their own right there and take control of the add-on. I don't think we'll see that, but it's something for them to think about, as this is now a neutral building. Yeah, that factory's gonna die. Supply depot burns down. Smush adding on 2 more factories to get up to 3 of them, while they are not going to be able to contend with Nagi-sama's 4. Although they do have, well, they don't even have an economic advantage. Nagi-sama is ahead in SCVs. So yeah. The barracks of Nagi-sama is going to be killed by McSmush. And now we're into a regular TVT zone. That poor Wraith is in a collision course for the worst time of his... Oh, no, he makes a veto. Alright. Build the factory there. Come on. Yes, no. I want to see that add-on commandeered so much. Instead, the SCV probably is going to just start the command center up there. Which will be... Oh, wait, no. Where's it getting built? He's taking his mineral. Vultures got into the main via dropship, as we can see here, and absolutely tearing up this SCVs of Nagisama. Nagisama was ahead in SCVs, and now they're not. Oops, shouldn't have missed that, but Dropship will be able to get out and prepare to do that exact same thing all over again. Because Nagisama does not have turrets in position to fight that. And I'm looking around, I don't even think they have... Oh, they do have an engineering base, so they will be able to build the turrets. And, you know what they say, fool me once, shame on you. Drop me twice, I forgot to build turrets. Shit. Unfortunately, the add-on was killed. It was not commandeered, so our dreams are left unfulfilled. Pour one out for all the uncommandeered add-ons in games. Like, this was probably the first game in 10 years where that might have been a factor. It just doesn't happen. Okay, Vultures pick off a scouting SCV as Nagisama's own Vultures will deny Mixed Smush's 3 o'clock base. We have Goliath and Siege Tanks set up here at the 9 o'clock, ready to intercept and prevent that base from being denied once Nagisama gets the resources to start mining from it. Of course, we haven't seen any transfers out from their to their main or their natural. They haven't really... They've been slacking on the SCV production, especially after Vultures get into your main and kill a bunch. You just gotta keep building SCVs. Let's check upgrades real quick. Vultures are at... Nagisama is at +1 attack, going into +2 researching, while Mixed Smush is in +1 attack, going into +1 armor researching. So Nagisama's armor will just be a little bit more deadlier, as the attack upgrades will scale a lot better than once the siege tank wars really begin. That's actually huge. That's actually insanely huge if the Goliaths catch this science facility. That's going to delay Nagisama's tech for a while. Have to rebuild one to get +3. Uh-oh. That is unfortunate. At least we have... Nagisama has now gone up a base. We're going to start mining from 6 o'clock pretty soon. And the map is getting divided pretty evenly across the players. And by pretty evenly, I mean Nagisama drew a real big old line right across half of it and said you're allowed to have 3 bases. Maybe 4 if you're lucky. Unfortunately, Mixed Smush is not very lucky, and all these Vultures are going to come up and deny the space, kill an SCV, deny a missile turret. Mixed Smush is going to try to get up there, but unfortunately, it's probably just isn't going to happen. Oh, actually. Wow. Really great play here by Nagisama, just saying, hey, this is the base you wanted. No. However, I think that probably isn't the correct one for Mixed Smush to try to take because they're expanding towards their opponent. However, if they managed to take it, that would have been really good for them because the 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock would have been the most contested bases late game TVT, and thus the most important. So if they could get to one early and start mining it out very quickly, they would be able to fall back on some of their easier to take bases later in the game. Okay. Yep, again, Spider Mines. Goliaths and Siege Tanks can kind of just walk into a move through Spider Mines. It works. Yeah, this attack force has just somehow like gone deep into enemy territory, completely ignoring like Nagisama is going to try to intercept them, and if McSmush isn't careful, yeah, these Siege Tanks are going to get the first volley. Oh, Goliath tanks both the shots, but these remaining Siege Tanks are also going to get cleaned up, as the rest of them are just going to. Scan goes down, and McSmush will kill it, but the next little task force from Nagisama is going to come out and clean the rest of that up. Nagisama is going to hold the position at 6, and McSmush is going to try to take the one at 3. Right. Yeah, those two Siege Tanks are being very annoying, and McSmush, oh man, should probably look at the bases sometimes. We have 3 battle cruisers being made at once. Yamato cannon research just finished, as well as +1, I think +1, yep, +1 attack and armor is coming through on those battle cruisers. So, Nagisama's probably, once they see that, they're probably just going to start spamming out Goliaths as much as possible. But up until the very last moment when these battle cruisers are revealed, every siege tank Nagisama makes that doesn't have like turrets and Goliaths backing them up is going to be very vulnerable. Like, this position is going to fall extremely easily. You have a number of Wraiths available, but Wraiths versus battle cruisers I don't think is a matchup any player wants to play. Or, you know, if you're using Wraiths. Scans are going down, I think, from Nagisama. They're mostly just checking around what McSmush has. They might have already seen the battle cruisers. That would explain why they're going into Wraiths, to maybe try and have an anti-air attack. But and since they don't want to devote as many resources into getting battle cruisers themselves, they're also getting 2 additional armories, so they're going up to 3, and that'll help them just start spamming out their ship and vehicle upgrades. Now Nagisama is taking the 6 o'clock, so this base is going to be extremely important. We might see the battle cruisers move out very soon to try and prevent this from happening. I think both players are just scanning the shit out of each other, trying to figure out what their next move is going to be. McSmush is going to try to move some vultures out, and they're going to get on top of the siege tank and kill it. But not before some reinforcements come and at least put some damage on them. Okay, so I guess Nagisama is just keeps scanning the mineral only for some reason. I'm not sure why. And now they scan in the main, so they definitely see the battle cruisers now. And they start cloak on their wraiths. So I don't think that would really pay off. I feel like it's a move that seems good. Oh, these dropships are going to get caught. Let's see what they have in them. 4 vultures, yeah, so there's not even any Goliaths here for them to drop out. Really great moving shots here by Nagisama. Going to prevent 1 vulture out of 8 will get out, but that is a huge, unfortunately, the Spider-Mine will live with apparently like 4 HP. More vultures are going to try to come out to make some room, but there are just a bunch of tanks here. And, I mean, McSmush has just been massing battle cruisers. All the gas he gets is going into BCs, and he just hasn't been moving out with them. We're up to 7, 3 more on the way. It's like he's waiting for the full control group before he uses them, but I mean, that's just giving Nagi-sama a bunch of time to say, okay, I guess I'll get Wraiths with Cloak. I don't think that will work too well, but he can get Goliaths, which will work pretty well. And, you know, maybe start building turrets up in the middle of the map. Nagi-sama is on max supply though, so this is kind of thing where you're on max supply, you're in a TVT, you've taken a bunch of extra bases. The armories aren't spinning though, and there definitely could be a lot of resources being used. Nagi-sama's going to try to attempt a push here, and I don't think they're in the position to push. Honestly, I think Nagi-sama really just should have wants to keep holding the line and preventing McSmush from getting out of their little 4-base corner. Because now that these battle cruisers are moving out, Nagi-sama needs turrets and Goliaths to fight these guys. Wraiths with Cloak can come in, and they have anti-air missiles, but one scan and the Goliaths are just gonna, the battle cruisers are just gonna delete them. Even this small amount of Goliaths aren't going to be able to do enough damage to really contend with the battle cruiser army. One pulls back, does get killed though. But these battle cruisers are just going to start marching across the map, and Nagi-sama is just going to be building as many Goliaths as possible. They lost so many tanks trying to push forward that now McSmush has the initiative, and they can just drive this battle cruiser wedge straight to Nagi-sama's main base. Nagi-sama recognizes that, GGs are called, and McSmush will take the TVT. Alright. That was a weird game, and then it became a slightly less weird game, and then it got weird again. Well played to both of our players. I don't know much about TVT, but it looked like you were doing the things you're supposed to do, so yeah. Our next game, which is going to be our penultimate game of the cast, is going to be McSmush versus Nice Pants in a ZVT that we're just going to go ahead and hop right into. Once again on Polypoid, we're going to see if McSmush can take, I think, I have forgotten how many games what their record for this group is. We'll figure it out right after this one, especially because both of our players picked the exact same shade of blue. Oh, wait, hold on. I should probably switch over to the game, huh? All right. There we go. Now you can see our players have picked the exact same shade of blue, but luckily they are not. This is not a mirror match. So in the bottom left corner, we're going to have the lighter blue Zerg Nice Pants. In the top left corner, we're going to have the darker blue Terran McSmush. We're going to see if they played in the right game mode. They didn't, so we're going to be stuck with this. Remember, please, if you're when you're playing your games for CPL, and I'm sure also all of the casters, everyone who watches these games would really appreciate if you play in top versus bottom, because when you do it in that game mode, and you get random into 2 colors that look very similar, we can shift tab and the players will be blue and red, whereas if you just play in, I think, free-for-all or one-on-one, and you shift tab, both players will be yellow. So, yeah, just something. If it's not super important because this is a very rare situation, but sometimes when you do get into games where you glance at a mini map real quick to see if there's anything you should be taking note, and you're not sure if there's like one player is doing something or the other player is doing something, it can really help. Meanwhile, in this game, Nice Pants is going for a 12 hatch. McSmush is going for 2 barracks. So they want to end this game as quickly as they did versus our other Zerg player. A 10-tat. And McSmush is going to be going for some very fast attacks here to try and end it very quickly. Yep. Mixmush gets an SCV up into Nice Pants' base. And Nice Pants has a drone chilling at Mixmush's mineral only. Unfortunately, the Overlord isn't running up the scout, so it's going to be very late. But the drone will be going up there to see what is going on, and we'll see. Well, you'll see a number of Marines. It will get in. Does Nice Pants? Nice Pants should have caught vision of the two barracks, so we're probably going to see a very panicked. Yep, that drone is. Yep. All right, so this is going to look like Nice Pants is absolutely going to be able to defend this. They're going to be getting up sunken colonies in time. The Marines are going to get over there quickly, but not fast enough. Zerglings come out immediately. They're going to come over and kill this SCV, but it will finish the bunker. However, oh man, the SCV ducks in, but with two sunken colonies on the way, that bunker is going to fall extremely quickly. The Marines are going to snipe away the Zerglings. Great pull away there by Nice Pants. Now the sunken colony is just going to start tearing through the bunker. It does its full 40 damage, so the bunker will get torn to shreds very easily. And while the sunken colony may fall, the remaining Zerglings are going to come up, clear this attack, and Nice Pants is going to hold very easily. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, not to knock Mixmush, but I mean they're doing a great job of macroing up. They have 16. They have 16 SCVs, which isn't a whole lot, but Nice Pants only has 11 drones. However, their command center that they're probably going to need to stay in this game is going to be very delayed. Marines are taking up residence on the ramp here, so that shouldn't make it. Basically, they shouldn't die. Nice Pants might get a really nice engagement here, but you know. When you have units on the ramp, Marines are going to be very hardy and are going to shoot down all the Zerglings that are coming. And now Mixmush is just going to be figuring out what the next stage of their game is, which seems to be they're going to be an academy for Stim, and they're just going to try and one-base it and put some extra pressure on the Zerg, who will probably just be throwing down more Sunkens when they see how much Mixmush is committing to this play. Well, I mean, opposite Mixmush is a Nice Pants who has gotten an absolute flood of Zerglings, and once Stim Marines come out, no, this is actually a pretty good position because the Marines will try to come out and the Zerglings can kind of wrap around them and try to get a really nice angle. So, yeah, I guess we'll just have to see how this attack holds. If Nice Pants tries to force the engagement, they will most certainly not work, and they try to do, and it does not work. All the Zerglings get shredded. I think one Marine died, and now Mixmush is like, oh, hey, you traded away an entire army. I'm going to push. The medics think there's a hidden back door here, but unfortunately there isn't, and they have to feel pretty dumb and run up to catch up with the rest of the army. Nice Pants throws down 2 more creep colonies, so they're going to be safe from this aggression. But they are going to be forced into their base, so behind this, Mixmush can probably get their expansion pretty safely. Of course, they've gotten their engineering bay up. They're getting +1 infantry weapons, so they're going to have missile turrets up in their main by the time this lair finishes for Nice Pants and they start the Spire and Mutalisks get out. Marine Stim, just to see if it works. They run right into some sunken colonies, and they run right away from some sunken colonies. I think going up to 6 sunken colonies in your natural might be a bit much, but Nice Pants is playing very safely and wants to guarantee that Mixmush isn't just going to get a free win by building men and running them at their main. Marine checks top right. He'll probably end a Marine checks bottom right just to make sure that Nice Pants hasn't taken a sneaky base anywhere. And they haven't. Oh, and the layer finishes and Nice Pants is going for a Hydralisk Den. Okay. So we're probably going to see some pretty quick lurkers, which means they aren't going to be able to get a lot of harassment done. That's probably just going to solidify that Mixed Smush is going to be able to get their expansion up pretty safely. Yeah, Mixed Smush is just playing really smart. They tried the bunker rush, it didn't work. They tried to do a bust here and it didn't work. And so they're just saying, okay, what's the next best thing I can do? Well, I can make sure you don't have any extra bases anywhere. Like, I can make sure that if you're playing sneaky and grabbing a base somewhere on the map, I can deny that. That's why we see the Marines sort of, you know, sparing 1 or 2 Marines just to check, you know, 12 o'clock, this guy's going to be heading to 3 o'clock. Just to make sure that Zerg isn't that far ahead economically. Yep, but we see Hydralisk coming out. They're going to be morphed into lurkers as soon as that research evolves. And the Queen's Nest is also going to be finishing up here, and Nice Pants is going to be going for a, like, 2 base, going up into getting some sort of, you know, high tier 3 unit to follow up with. Single Zergling starts moving out to try and get a read for where Mixed Smush is in the game. Both players playing very low econ, just getting a lot of army supply. Both sub 30 workers nearly 10 minutes into the game. However, Nice Pants is about to add on 5 more drones. And is going to, yeah, pretty much take the lead on workers. The eggs are right there. Let's see. If there weren't 6 sunken colonies in a natural here, you would almost think this looks like a regular TVZ. Never would have guessed that it opened with a bunker rush into an attempted 1 base stim push. Alright, so now that the hive is here, the question is, what is the next tech? Oh, the Defiler Den starts at the most unfortunate time, and the scan goes down. It should see it. And then also Aspire goes down. Yeah, Nice Pants, unfortunately, I mean, they really need to move out and try to get out on the map, but without the Mutalisks, they aren't really able to tax the Marine army and force the Terran to stay at their base. So Nice Pants really hasn't had the room to try and move out and take a 3rd gas anywhere. A couple Zerglings try to run out, get some scouts, but Mixed Smush's Marine positioning has a pretty good arc, and they have a lot of angles covered. Yeah, they're even getting turrets up here so that Mixed Smush won't have to dedicate comm sats. That's a very good. That's cool to see. Say, you know what? I'd rather be able to have my comm stats to scan your base and any possible extensions. I'll just spend those 75 minerals and have permanent vision, like detection, where my army is. Like, you can tell Mixed Smush is not planning to give up this ground anytime soon. Yep, we have a lot of Zerglings and Consume on the way, and an Ultralisk Den added in. Nice Pants is going for the late game tech trifecta on 2 bases, which unfortunately stretches their gas extremely thin, and we haven't seen it work yet. So We're going to see if it works this time. I think this has happened in almost all of the ZVTs we've casted today, and it has almost universally been met with the Zerg just not being able to replenish their tech units as the science vessels irradiate and kill them. Oh, and now that tanks are added in, that's actually huge because Mixmush will basically be able to ensure that Nice Pants can't even like zone the Terran out of the way. If Mixmush pushes the tanks a little bit further, they don't have to rely on the science vessels to kill defilers and lurkers. Oh no! Scourge run right into a science vessel. Missile turret is not enough to save it. That is huge for Nice Pants, and the other one also gets taken out. So Mixmush's science vessel count looks to be 0. 1 is coming on the way. Huge move out here from Nice Pants, but the Dark Swarm is a little far back, unfortunately, and all of the Zerg is going to. Oh no! Oh no! Well, the Dark Swarm on the lurkers and at home will mean that Nice Pants won't die, but that was a lot of that was a lot of Zerg to just give away for free in a situation where the Zerg cannot afford to give away anything. 2-base Zerg is extremely tricky. And I mean, there's nothing under these clouds, right? Like, they're scary. The orange dust and bugs and whatever Dark Swarm is made out of looks scary when you're playing Terran, but when there's nothing under it, like, what is it gonna do? The lurkers are gonna try to run forward, but again, the Dark Swarms aren't leapfrogged enough. So much of the bulk of the army was spent in a really weird move out. In a crucial moment of mistiming that Nice Pants just won't really be able to. I don't know. Zergling Flood is going to be able to get at least somewhat on top of the siege tank. The lurker hops forward. But the defilers, once again, they are dying to Marines. Defilers are only supposed to be killed by irradiates, and unfortunately, you know, every high-tech unit that isn't killed by an irradiate is just another unit that the science vessels will soon kill with an irradiate. That is okay. That Hydros was just barely not under the Dark Swarm. All right, now here's another huge push out, and actually, it's finally getting to a point where Mixmush's army is very weak. The Ultralisks will be able to burst out, and I guess maybe Mixmush just hasn't been on top of their macro. They haven't been really spending they're up a lot of money, and you know, these last few Dark Swarms they've been trying to fight under them, so there's been some army mismanagement there, and Nice Pants does break out, and Mixmush, unlike in our previous, I think the last ZVT we casted, there really isn't a lot back at home to defend. An irradiate goes down on the Ultralisk, so that should prevent this push from, oh no, the Zerglings can get up in the mineral line, and there's just a siege tank there. Lurkers are coming up into the base. Ah, I see what is happening. I look into the production tab now, and I see why Mixmush doesn't have the army that they have. It is because there are 2 battle cruisers in production, which battle cruisers, they can work as they come out. They take 2 shots to kill a Zergling, but you know, it's, oh no. Well, huh. I don't really have much to say about this. Yeah, McSmush sets up a base in the all the way over there. Yeah, it's like, dude, does Nice Pants really need to kill these battle cruisers? Both earning their Commodore rank with their kills, but huh. This is a game I really would be interested in watching a first-person VOD of this game, because I'd be curious to see what McSmush was looking at and paying attention to when those like first final few dark clouds came down and the Zerglings and Lurkers were actually able to get up on top of his army, because he just didn't move away in time and he lost so many units during the fight. More Hydralisks come up. They probably won't be able to kill the battle cruisers, but it will be annoying. A Hydralisk will get up here, see this base, and McSmush, I mean, they're trying their best. I will give them that, but unfortunately, I mean, Nice Pants can just keep making. This is funny. Are you kidding me? Stop this. This is ridiculous. Alright, anyways. Yeah, I mean, more Zerglings are just going to keep coming up, and the command, whatever the battle cruisers are, I have to say my kills. 30 kills, 16 kills, 7 kills, 4 kills, and they're just going to keep going up. I mean, they've killed so much Zerg, but the problem is, it's Zerglings, and Nice Pants is just making infinity Zerg. Wow, actually, hold on. Hold on now. Nice Pants still has a mining. Nice Pants should be sending these Zerglings to this base. He's really he keeps trying to kill the main, and he just doesn't need to. I think these Hydralisks are finally going to move over here and start killing them. Because, I mean, honestly, if Nice Pants tried to commit a critical error and kept sending units up here to try and just kill all the random stuff up here that doesn't matter, McSmush would be able to keep mining from this base and staying in the game. But luckily for Nice Pants, they're moving up, they're coming to kill this, and that should be the signal that this is going to be GG for McSmush. As they're trying to get their, oh nope, the SCVs are going to transfer. This is their final game in the Group 20. They have to have a good final showing, but I mean, what is, Scourge were made. If you're in a situation, for our Zerg players out here, I learned this from one of Greth's free-for-all casts, where if you're playing Zerg and your opponent is getting a bunch of battle cruisers, you get Defilers and you use Plague on them, because it's basically the same reason why you have like you use Irradiate on Ultralisks, where it doesn't kill them, so it might not seem like it is like the correct thing to do, and Scourge are supposed to be the things that kill every flying unit, but battle cruisers will one-shot Scourge as soon as they get a single upgrade, or even if there's, you know, more than one battle cruiser. So Scourge are actually really bad against battle cruisers, but if you plague the battle cruisers, they'll all just start draining health so fast that eventually you can even send in like a single Mutalisk and start killing them, or Hydralisks, like what Nice Pants is attempting. And they're getting a third base now, so that's good. Yeah, you can see the battle cruisers just, the Scourge don't do anything. The Scourge are just tanking shots for the Hydralisk. At this point, Hydralisks get up, they start sniping SCVs. Ooh, very clutch defense matrix. Oh no, you hate to see it. The hero Betrayer Hydralisk steals an Irradiate, or steals a defensive matrix. But the battle cruisers will eventually fall, because Hydra's a pretty good unit. And that is going to be GG. McSmush calls it, and that's going to be our game. Nice Pants will take it. This was McSmush's last game of, or the last game from McSmush for the round of 20. So while they could not get out, they did. They had a good showing. That was a really interesting game. I honestly thought they had it, but it's just right at the end, the final, like, literally Nice Pants' last resort final Dark Swarm did what it needed to do, and they were able to take the game. So looks like McSmush got out 2-2. Yeah, they beat Attentat and they beat Nagi. So, again, 2-2 is an extremely respectable score in a best-of-1 series against a bunch of random players you don't really have time to prep for. So, yeah, they get out. They did play pretty well. And our next and final game is going to be Nagi versus Nice Pants, which is going to be a Terran versus Zerg to see who is going to win this final match in our group of 20 and see if Nice Pants, who is going to sort of come out on top there. All right. We hop into our final game of the day on Polypoid. And in the bottom right corner, we have Nagi-sama playing the pink Terran squad in this game. Opposite their opponent, Nice Pants, heading up the teal Zerg brood. And the Overlord heads counterclockwise, and there is a Terran base that it is going to find. Nothing too strange going on here. We have an SCV about to build a barracks, going to scout. Let's see if Nagisama scouts up. No? Scouts to the left, so yeah, both players are going to find each other relatively quickly. Nice Pants going for a 12 hatch, so we're going to get ourselves into a nice, comfortable macro game to ease out of Group 20. Ease out our casting for today. Okay, Nagisama's going for a gasless expand, it looks like. No refinery as of yet. And they're going to get up into Nice Pants' main, see the spawning pool is not too early, and they should probably feel pretty safe for that gasless. My god. I'm pretty sure, see, but then they just build the extractor in the expansion. So Nice Pants was a bit more on top. I'm pretty sure Nagisama did this versus a Tentat as well. And so, the extractor here, like, again, you just build the extractor on your expansion, and then your first couple of Zerglings can kill the refinery there. I mean, I guess it delays it just slightly, but it won't be too bad. Oh no, hold on. One moment, watch this hatchery, please. I might be extremely wrong, but it feels like infrastructurally something is delayed here on Nagi-sama. I feel like they should have more barracks or like a factory started by now. Well, I guess there's one. Oh, and then, okay, never mind. Apparently my interpretation of something being late is 2 seconds before it is about to happen. Let's see. Nagi-sama's getting into their Hydra Den, so they're skipping Spire, which, or I'm sorry, Nice Pants is skipping Spire, going straight into Hydra Den, so we're going to see a very quick, assume very fast lurkers. Nope, and then the Spire is also coming again. I need to stop saying words during a cast, apparently, because the players are dedicated to proving me wrong. Scan goes down, sees the Spire. Does it see the Hydra Den? It also sees the Hydra Den. Because scans have infinite range, an SCV coming over to scout, but it will get pushed out by the sunken colonies or die trying to get in. 1, 2, 3. Yep, missile turret gets put up. Yeah. Nagi-sama is preparing for some kind of lurker bust to start coming in. And Nagi-sama starts moving up into 5 barracks. Two missile turrets get vision of an overlord, shoot it down. Marines move out and snipe a scouting Zergling. And Nice Pants is heading straight up the tech tree before even a single lurker is even made, before lurker research is even finished. They are getting their Queen's Nest, and they're planning to go straight to Hive. Is that a drone? That is a drone. Nice Pants is taking the ninja base at the 12 o'clock. Oh boy. I'm glad to see they've found the variation that Zerg needs when going on 2 base insta-hive. The insta-hive strategy is to take just a hidden base somewhere. Hope the Terran doesn't find it. To borrow a phrase, this is a bit of a little gamble, because if it is scouted, then oh, that's going to be rough. But I actually don't think it's going to be scouted. That's SCV's going to look up here, and then he probably is going to look into the top left. The Marines medics are going to move out, but there's, 5 sunken colonies there. There's literally no possible way for this force to do any kind of serious damage to our Zerg player. So the SCV is going to move out, start heading to the left. We'll see if he dips into the 12, because if he does, then things are going to start looking very grim for our Zerg. Our Zerg Techer. I don't know what the, they're just getting all the researches. SCV does not check the 12. So in just a few moments, Nice Pants, yeah, the drone is going to try to move out there to start building the extractor. Yeah, Nice Pants is going to have 3 gas production going up. Drones are filtering up there, and if Nagi-sama catches that, or is that drone? That drone is moving to 9 o'clock to try and bait. Oh, actually no. Nice Pants is just going to go to try to expand everywhere to trick Nagi-sama into thinking that there isn't a hidden base at the 12. But Nagi-sama can probably just come up, kill these 2 drones, and deny the bases, but they might have to sacrifice some of their army containing the Zerg up front, because these lurkers, 5 lurkers is nothing to scoff at when you only have, Marines. Yeah, Patry goes down in the top left, but 2 Marines come up and they'll be able to pretty much completely deny it. Nice Pants does cancel. No, he didn't start the one down there, but we'll probably see the cancel here in the top left. Unless these 2 lurkers have something to say about it. More Marines trying to come up. 2 lurkers can make the dream work. A Marine does see the 12 o'clock. So now Nice Pants is in an extremely difficult situation where, oh man, oh no. The lurkers are burrowing on the ramp, but these Marines are coming straight for 12. Zerglings are going to try to defend, but 6 Zerglings, 5 Zerglings are not going to be enough to prevent the Marines from shooting down everything in this base. And if Nice Pence doesn't look at the top left soon, he's going to lose that expansion and not get the cancel. Defiler Den and Ultralisk Cavern both on the way here. So Nice Pants is going to try. Dumb medics, very dumb, bad medics are going to get completely chewed up by the Zerglings. But 3 of them will barely live. And yeah, the hatchery finishes, and I hope that's a drone. It's not, though, according to the production tab. So Nice Pants had the lurkers in position to try and defend this from the Marines, but unfortunately was not able to. I just didn't move them back far enough to actually defend. He was worried about the main force that he forgot about these 2 assassin Marines. Unfortunate. Yep, so Nice Pants is going to try to move out. Burrow there, no scan, so they'll get poke away a couple of Marines, but the scan will come down and Nagisama will go to engage. Huge lurker spine takes out actually most of the Marines there. But if Nagisama is able to push up a little bit, they will be able to take out these 3 lurkers. Back at home, they're teching up. Science vessels are on the way. So the inevitability of Irradiate just getting things for free all the time will eventually start to play a role. Nagisama once again trying to take an expansion, but the SCV is there and ready to shoo the drone away. And these lurkers that are just out on the map are unfortunately in a prime moment for them to get caught and killed. The drone is trying to run and make it to the top left, but I feel like Nice Pants just has forgotten that there are 2 Marines up there. And once that drone gets up there, they are going to shoot it and shoot it until it is dead. Yep, 1 drone falls, and the other gets taken out as well. Dark Swarm is now out, so Nice Pants will be able to start pushing Nagisama away, but Nagisama is playing very carefully. They've just moved their army back, and they're saying, okay, just keep sending Dark Swarms out, you know, keep wasting your energy. I'm going to have my floating balls of radiation and death. They're going to come up and kill them as soon as they have 75 energy. What that Defiler is deciding to do, but it does save itself momentarily to buy enough time for these Zerglings to run back and kill the Marines. Oh, Nice Pants has established a base in the top right. And, you know, on Hive Tech, they will be able to get a Nidus Canal and really hold it. So that should limit the expansion capability of Nagisama. Nice Pants just really needs to hold those bases, limit this science vessel count, and they're going to be in a pretty okay position, all things considered. Oh, a bit of a delay on the Dark Swarm there. Unfortunately, Nice Pants will lose that entire small Zergling detachment and their Defiler Overlord, but the main army is still okay for now. It's possible we're going to see 2 Irradiates go down, and yep, they toss out a Dark Swarm, and we're going to see another one thrown out just to try and make sure that looks like another Irradiate got put on a Lurker. Fortunately, there was not an additional Dark Swarm for the army to piggyback under, and I believe Nice Pants is out of Defilers, which means they're going to have to start taking just the most brutal possible fights. Or distract the Terran long enough. Oh no. A lot of Zerg is just running straight away, not really consolidated together, and they're going to get picked apart by each individual Terran force. The Ultralisks are going to putting in an honest day's work, but with only 3 armor instead of 5, they are going to get shredded by the Marines. And honestly, I actually don't see literally any other army for Nice Pants. So it's looking like a situation where Nagi-sama could just walk across the map and start killing them. Of course, Nice Pants does have 3. They're getting up to 3 bases. They have a drone in place for 4, and there was a drop in the main. Oh my God, I miss the most important things all of the time. All of the tech is dead. All of the base is dead. The Marines are tearing through the Hydralisks. I don't know what upgrades they're at. They're at 1-1. Hydralisks don't even have an attack upgrade. The medic is out of energy and can't do anything, but the Marines still shoot through all the Hydralisks, and this has to be game. As the main force comes and barrels into the front, that is GG's, called by both players, and Nagi-sama takes it in a very convincing... is it Nice Pants? Oh, jeez. I messed up my overlay. In a very convincing TVZ, Nagi-sama wins the final match, the final game of Group 20. And we're going to just have a quick review of our players here. Good games played by all. It has been a great little group to cast. We got to see a wide range of we got to see all the different matchups and a ZVZ, so that's all right. A Tentat, our first player to get out, got out with a 2-2, and that's a very good score. That's a respectable score for a best of 1 where you're against 4 other people, and you have to play all the different matchups. McSmush also got out with a 2-2, so also a very good play by them. Again, is great. Nice Pants also got out with a 2-2 score, so it seems to be a theme here where most of our players, they did pretty okay. 50-50 isn't bad for a best of 1 series where you basically have to play each matchup. Gerthang, however, only got out with 1 win, 3 losses, but again, somebody has to lose. It's a best of 1. This was the first week of CPL, so it's not a very good indication of where our players are at and how they're going to perform in the regular season, because best of 3s already are an entirely different beast, but they'll essentially have an entire week to prepare. They have a bunch of different maps they can play on, and they can practice their matchup. So, I'm looking forward to seeing some more of Gerthang's games. They played a really interesting style, and I want to see where that goes in a regular best of 3. And then finally, well, actually, no, not finally. Nagi got out with 3 victories, so they are probably the leader of the group here. They won all but 1 of their games. So, I mean, they pretty much showed they were the boss of this group.